my week just a little bit easier. I start by making my rooibos granola by combining all of my dry ingredients in a bowl. Separately whip my egg white and add coconut sugar, maple syrup, rooibos, along some other spices. I then pour my wet into dry and pop it in the oven for about 20 minutes. I always make sure I prep some bread, and this week it was focaccia, so I let my dough rise for about 3 hours. I then dimple it, add some flaky salt and tomatoes since I have so many on my counter, and after letting it rise for another 30 minutes, pop that in the oven. While that's baking, I prep some meat sauce for the week. This is a favorite, and all I have to do is make some pasta on the night I'm serving this. I start by chopping up carrots, onions, and usually celery, but I didn't have any on hand. I then brown my meat in batches and let the sauce simmer for about an hour and a half. At this point, my granola is cool, so I break it up and add some dried cherries to it. I set that aside and moved on to the last dish I'm prepping for today.
You know what? Let's Google what the definition of a trad wife is.
Well, that's perfect. So I was actually going to ask you, what do you consider a trad wife?
Well, I had to look up the term. Now I don't know.
So, guys, welcome to the show. If you are someone who does not know who Nara Smith is right now, you definitely will know her by the end of this video. And I'm curious what your answer is going to be to this question. The question of the day is, Nara Smith, brilliant satirist or shameless grifter? For those who don't know what a satirist is, because sometimes seeing words in different forms makes them look unrecognizable. A satirist is somebody who's really good at satire, right? Like a Drewski or an Eddie Murphy. Did what you just see remind you of Drewski or Eddie Murphy? Because her apologists are saying that it's satire, darling, and it's too highbrow for us to understand it. Bullshit. So today we're going to talk about Nara Smith and why I think that she is one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse of modern democracy. Damn, that was supposed to be a cliffhanger. I think we're just starting off the way. You already know the answer to the question before we even started. Hey guys, hi, my name is Bluecentric. I am a writer, producer, on-air personality, emotional intelligence coach, and we use this show, Bluecentric Live, to use pop culture, politics, and current events as a way to illustrate in real life why emotional intelligence is so fucking important. A lot of you are saying grifter, a good old-fashioned grift. Yes, I feel like we're all on the same page. Now, I have to do the disclaimer. 40% of you who are in here have no idea what the hell we're talking about. And so I'm going to do my best to level set what's going on so that everybody can catch on from wherever they are. 60% of you in here know exactly who Nara Smith is, and you all just here to see if I'm about to drag her or not. I'm not going to drag her. For those who are saying you're glowing, this is crazy because I feel crazy. I don't feel like I'm glowing. I'm PMSing. My cycle is due any second. Me and Bridget went to go pedicures today because we both look like Barney Rubble from the ankle down. Y'all don't understand. My nails grow really fast, and I'm not saying that as a flex. I start to look like a hooved animal if I don't get my nails cut every month. Bridget sat next to me while I got cussed out by Andy, my nail tech, who said, Blue, you can't keep waiting this long to come back. My nails were so long, I was starting to scare myself. So while we were getting our nails done, I was looking up the Nara Smith thing, and I was just like, there are people who think that she's just a harmless girl. Now, if you don't know who Nara Smith is, because I feel like a lot of my real life friends don't know who Nara Smith is, but social media be having me in white folks business and white folk adjacent business. Nara Smith is a biracial young lady who was raised in Germany. She's Black and German, and she was a model for a very long time. And then a couple of years ago, at the ripe age of like 21, she decided to start doing content that was very reminiscent of old 50s housewife aesthetic. Now, I don't know if you've heard me mention this before on the show, but the resurgence of Mormon wives and trad wives is in, where's my lotion? Y'all know I can't do the show unmoisturized. Where is it? There we go. Sorry, let me take off my rinse so I can moisturize. Y'all know it's not a coincidence that trad wives and Mormon wives are now all over our timelines at the exact same time that the GOP is stealing elections with a fervor that is unprecedented, and suddenly conservative MAGA values are being pumped through every reality TV show that you can think of, particularly those on Netflix and ABC. Y'all really thought that was a coincidence? You don't find that suspicious? So there are certain women who are being weaponized under the guise of traditional values meets girl boss to create whole conglomerates based on spoon feeding archaic, self-limiting, and dangerous traditional beliefs. And here's the thing, guys, I'm actually not a radical progressive. I know, shocking. I am what I call a hybrid, where I think there are a lot of old school shit that, thank God, let's knock it all over and subvert the norms. And also, not everything your grandma had to teach you was bullshit. Grandma was pulling niggas and had her bills paid. And did she have rights? Maybe not. Actually, no, she definitely didn't have no fucking rights. And however, comma, she still found a way to survive while we're overstimulated by the algorithm. So not everything your grandma taught you was bullshit. So as someone who's in the intersection of the modern and the traditional, I have nothing against women with traditional values. I do have something with spoon feeding propaganda that gets women to think it's their idea to give up their rights. Damn, this is the intro. I was supposed to ease into this. I feel like I'm starting in the middle. So let's start back in the beginning. First of all, let's do house rules. Thank you to Natalia and Florence and G and all the moderators in here. House rules, please like and hype the live after it's over. Yes, you can like the live immediately, but you can hype it after it's over. Keep comments respectful to Blue in the community. Negative, unkind behavior will not be tolerated, okay? Be spicy, be provocative, don't be an asshole. That's all. I feel like these are simple rules. Thank you, Natalia, and everybody else. So we're going to start with a recap of why Nara Smith is in conversation, right? Because Nara Smith is somebody who I've considered in light touches doing a live about for, God, the greater part of a year. Yeah, it's been over a year of me like, do I want to talk about this girl or not? And it wasn't until her recent appearance on Call Her Daddy when I said, oh, this bitch is playing in our faces. Now I have to talk about her. I have to talk about her. Somebody said, I used to drive my, oh, hey, Jazz, I used to drive my first boyfriend around in my car. My nana said, hell no, he should be driving me around. And it's true. Yeah, your grandmas weren't complete dummies. They weren't. And here's the thing, too. It's dangerous when you act like everything that came before you was stupid, because when your kids grow up, they're going to act like you're stupid, right? It's the circle of life. So let's start with, why is Nara Smith currently pissing us off? Why is she a topic right now, considering she got married at 18, was a model, is out here grazing cows and having gardens and making focaccia from scratch? Why is this girl who's seemingly just trying to live a simple life, why do I think she's so dangerous? And if I haven't said that up until now, I think she's fucking dangerous. All right, let's get into it.
See where that trad wife angle is coming from, because I don't think a trad wife would be cooking in like Schiaparelli.
Nara Smith is going through a rebrand. That's why she said that. It is no.
So Nara Smith said, what do you mean? Now that being a trad wife is being called out for the bullshit Trojan horse of, the collapse of democracy that it fucking is. Suddenly Nara Smith is saying, trad wife? Me? I'm not a trad wife. I'm a biracial model who just likes to make, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches from scratch, including the peanut butter, the jelly, the bread, and the knives, right? I'm going to sharpen a piece of metal and make my own knife. And then I'm going to grow some peanuts and make my own peanut butter. And then I'm going to plant seeds to make grapes, to make my own grapes, to then make into my own preserves, to then make into my own jelly. And then I'm just going to set back, the feminist movement about 70 years. Just light work before noon. By the way, buy my new book. So that Nara Smith is on a book tour now, and she went on Call Her Daddy. Call Her Daddy, the same show that has had as many black guests as I have fingers. For those who can't count, I have 5 fingers. Okay? Yes, guys, if you know about Nara Smith, please don't rush to show us how smart you are by doing a monologue in the comments. Let us enjoy it, because this show is like real life. In real life, if you were to talk over the presenter to show off how smart you are, you'd be seen as obnoxious. Guess what? That happens here too. And let them enjoy the ride. If you know all of Nara Smith's business, you have 2 options. Relax and enjoy the show and watch everybody else learn, or do your own video. I love options, yes? So we're going to start from the beginning. Nara Smith went on Call Her Daddy, and after years of playing in our faces, said, what do you mean I'm a trad wife? Maybe not only are you the trad wife, you're one of the top 2 trad wives, and the only person who's a bigger trad wife than you is 100% white instead of 50% white. Like, the only reason you're not number 1 is because you're not white enough. What do you mean you're not a trad wife? You her. There's Beyonce and there's Kelly. Can you imagine if Kelly Rowland came on the pewters and told us that she was not in Destiny's Child? How would you feel? How would you feel if in 2026, Kelly Rowland said, forget everything that you've ever heard, I was never a member of Destiny's Child? That's what it's like for Nara Smith to say that she's not a fucking trad wife. Can you tell I'm passionate about this? Let me breathe. All right, let's continue.
Secret that Nara Smith and Ballerina Farm were people that really sprung this movement of traditional femininity, traditional gender roles back into the social media ecosphere. And what we are seeing now is the same thing that we saw when Kylie Jenner and Kim Kardashian took their BBLs out once everyone started getting BBLs.
Yes, because the Kardashians thought BBLs were a status symbol. The minute, registered nurses from New Jersey could get them for about $3,000, they got a different kind of surgery, because the whole point wasn't just to look good. It was to be better than you. Y'all, I need you to understand, when these trends shift, the trends are not shifting just because society is fickle. The trends are shifting because you niggas have access. Once it becomes common and is no longer a status symbol, it shifts. If you don't believe me, ask Coach purses. Remember when Coach purses were the rage, and then too many of y'all bought Coach purses, and then suddenly nobody wanted the goddamn Coach purse. Now it's seen as provocative to show off a Coach purse, right? So the whole point was never about quality or choice. It was about being exclusive, because billion and trillion dollar industries are based on the backs of you feeling inferior. You can't feel inferior if you have access. Make sense, guys? All right, let's continue.
Being a trad wife making things from scratch is no longer a social indicator of wealth, and it is instead just a trend that people who come from all socioeconomic backings are participating in. That being said, being a trad wife is no longer cool. It's no longer desirable because so many other people have adopted similar.
If you missed it, I already explained it. A trav wife is a woman in modern times who wants to act like she Laura Ingraham from Little House on the Prairie. She wants to churn her own butter. She only wants to be a homemaker. She only wants to let her husband do everything. And she's, just making fucking sourdough from scratch and raising kids. By the way, nothing I'm saying sounds bad, does it, on the surface? There's nothing wrong with wanting a simple life, but we're going to explain to you over the next 2 hours why you thinking that sounds good is not actually coming from you directly. It's part of propaganda. If you think that your sudden desire over the last 3 to 5 years to be a soft girl who does not have a job and let a man take care of you, if you think that you suddenly daydreaming about having babies and never working again feels revolutionary to you, as if that's never happened before and we didn't see how that worked out. We're going to explain to you over the next 2 hours why this is not your idea, but why you probably think it is, though. So that's a trad wife. Trad wife stands for traditional wife. Again, these words alone are neutral and sometimes even good. There's nothing wrong with tradition. There's nothing wrong with wife. There's nothing wrong with the traditional wife. There is something wrong with the Trojan horse. There's something wrong where these seemingly a reprieve from the hustle and bustle of boss babe culture pops into your head as an idea, but then you realize, then why is my entire algorithm suddenly having the same idea? Baby, that's called propaganda. When you have a shocking idea that everybody else seems to simultaneously be having with you, that's called propaganda.
Their lifestyles, similar content styles, and that is the reason why Nara Smith is now experiencing her rebrand. It isn't because she doesn't still align with some of the traditional values anymore. It is because it is no longer a way for her to leverage both her beauty and her relationship to be able to gain more opportunities. There is something that's created with marketing that's called a threshold, and once you have met that threshold, you either are going to be required as a brand to rebrand and pivot or lose profit. And Nara Smith coming on Call Her Daddy to say that she is not a trad wife is that rebranding in full effect.
I don't think a trad wife would be cooking in Schiaparelli. Cleared! But what didn't clear are her lies. It is both irresponsible and pointless for Nara Smith to try to deny that she was pushing trad wife content. While most traditional wives don't have Vogue covers and pieces straight off the runway, I think we all can agree that Mrs. Smith was definitely part of that propaganda. She was literally cosplaying as a trad wife, making thousands and maybe even millions of dollars from doing so. And now that it's not cool.
She wasn't making thousands, baby girl. Nara Smith's current net worth at 24 years old, guys. This young lady has been grifting her entire adult life and is only 24 years old. At 24 years old, Nara Smith putting on a polka dot dress and an old apron from the Salvation Army and putting some hair curlers in her hair and teaching you how to make fucking cake from scratch is now worth $7 million. 7 million USD dollars. What do you call it when somebody makes $7 million helping chip away and be a part of the decline of women's rights? Thank you. Soft life equals for me, I work for myself and you can't fire me never again. That's my soft life. My soft life is I woke up this morning and said, oh shit, my period's coming. I feel nauseous, but I still got to do a live. BK, let's get some pedicures and order some In-N-Out burger because I need some iron. And, Kiki before I have to talk to these people. That's soft life to me. I still had to do about 7 hours of work though today. I was still going like this on my phone, working and sending emails to my team while I was getting a pedi. That's soft life. You see what I'm saying? Soft life is not just bubble baths. The way y'all act like taking a long shower means that your life is in order. Mind you, I'm a bitch who loves showers, so this is not a slight against showers. How you doing, right? I'm just saying that the optics of soft life and the optics of trad wife life are so flattening and one-dimensional. It had to be a trap. It had to be.
Cool to be a trad wife anymore. She's distancing herself from that character. Not to mention she did that weird collab with the #1 trad wife on TikTok, Ballerina Farms.
Hold on. How do I hide this comment? I'm going to hide this real quick. You guys, Ballerina Farms. So these are the 2 top trad wives. This is Beyonce and Kelly. These are the top 2 trad wives in this movement. A white woman who was an accomplished ballerina who could have rivaled, I'm not going to say Misty Copeland because Misty Copeland is that girl, but an amazing, accomplished, Juilliard-trained ballerina gave up her career and her entire livelihood to go on a ranch with a rich MAGA dude and just keep popping out his babies. And then she said, oh, snap, these babies getting expensive. So she decided to convince other women whose husbands are not rich ranchers to also be traditional wives. And that's why they call her Ballerina Farm, because she's a ballerina who's now stuck on a farm. Blink twice if you need help, madam. So Ballerina Farm is the Beyonce of this bullshit. Yes? She's the top trad wife. And not right behind her is Nara Smith, because the only thing better than a full white woman, actually no, the only thing slightly less better than a full white woman with a rancher husband is a swirly, racially ambiguous European woman who used to be a model and whose husband's a model, and they kind of remind you of a bleached out Iman and David Bowie from a distance, right? She is using the provocative exotic of being a biracial non-American and being a model and having a David Bowie but finer husband. Oh my God, they're so metropolitan. So you have 2 flavors of trad wife. You got the pure grade uncut cocaine trad wife, and you got the swirly white adjacent non-Black American trad wife. Y'all see who's not in the mix? Regular niggas, Latino people, undocumented folks, marginalized people, random fat bitches of all races, mediocrity in the sense of financial disdain. If you have to worry about paying for the extra guac, they're not talking about you, fam. They're not talking about you. I need you to understand, y'all don't look like these people. You don't. Do you see how if you just sit back, you just feel like you're looking at different shades of beige? That's who gets the benefit from trad wifery. It's not y'all, respectfully.
Ah, yes, Ballerina Farms. The woman that gave up her dreams of being a ballerina so she could become a chef.
Oh no, being a trad wife is a new grift because you are the breadwinner while saying your husband's in charge. It's crazy work. It's crazy work. And here's the thing. I don't think breadwinner is something that is based on just what you make, because there are some husbands who need to feel like the breadwinner, even if you are making more money than them. Sure, I'm not going to judge it, right? I think Cheryl Underwood once said that she made a lot of money, but she still considered her husband the breadwinner because he was in charge of their relationship. But Cheryl Underwood is also a conservative and also is Republican, lifelong, well, very decades-long Republican, although she claims that she didn't vote for MAGA, so I'm going to throw her some bail. So yes, breadwinner in the fiscal sense, right? The IRS would agree that she's the breadwinner. But child, if that man wanted to, let me shut up. I'm about to say something ignorant. If he wanted to tell her to eat the cake, she would still have to eat the fucking cake. Now, in my household, if I bought the cake, you can't tell me shit. But, you know, I'm not a trad wife, so let's continue.
Chef and personal baby making machine, milking cows all day on a hot ass farm with her.
For anybody who's asking questions, that's called jumping ahead. Don't worry, we're going to get to all of it. This is a deep dive. Let us dive.
Her billionaire husband, might I add. So yes, Nara Smith is definitely lying, and she was part of pushing a narrative that is no longer popular. She can try to backtrack, but it's too late. We already have 17-year-old girls that are loud and proud about not going to school or having any career plans of their own. Their goals are simply to be a slave to their husband and children. And of course, they're receiving harsh criticism for it, and rightfully so. Because of that, Nara is now trying to flip the script.
Primary responsibility for cooking, cleaning, and managing the household. Yeah, I like to cook. Okay, sue me.
She's only 24 years old, and it shows through her interview. Kudos to Alex Cooper for having her 5th black guest on Call Her Daddy. She knew exactly how she was being perceived. Now, do I think Nara Smith is a trad wife? Absolutely not. But do I believe she was cosplaying as one while also profiting off of it as long as it served her? Yes, I do.
Nara Smith is satire, and you cannot convince me otherwise.
So white women have come forward. Hard H on the white. Shout out to our white allies who don't move like this. White women have come forward and said that you negresses need to calm the fuck down. You Latinas and blacks and Asians who are saying that she's one of the horsemen of the apocalypse need to calm the fuck down and let me pet my cat while I watch videos of Nara Smith making sourdough. You don't understand comedy. She's a satirist, okay? Eddie Murphy ain't got shit on Nara Smith. Did anybody feel like they were watching satire just now when we opened up with the Nara Smith video? Did you feel that you were watching something that was subverting a norm and making a social commentary, which is quite literally the definition of satire? Is that what you experienced when you saw that lady fingering the dough and putting the cherry tomatoes in there? Did you feel that she was giving a scathing critique of a social norm? Y'all just be saying anything. And it's not lost on me. This bitch got her little house on the prairie dress on while saying this. Somebody said, I'm starting to wonder if children are watching Blues Live. The way she has to keep reminding folks not to jump ahead. You guys, that's also propaganda. The internet has created a thing where regular decorum, things that are seen as obnoxious in real life, are seen as normal and no big deal in the comment section. Again, in real life, if we were all in my house and I was telling a story, you yelling over me to tell everybody the middle and the end of the story was seen as obnoxious. And yet it doesn't compute to you that it's the same in the comment section. We are trying to create Bluecentric Live to remind y'all what real life looks like. You cannot trick me. Yes. So little House of the Prairie lady and her cat are trying to convince us, along with many other women who look like her, that we are tripping. Black women are just being mean at one of their own. And mind you, the fact that she's only half black, mind you, I don't play the biracial game, but let's be clear, and my biracial friends would agree. The fact that Nara Smith is half white is part of the reason why y'all are okay letting her play Kelly. Can we be honest about that? If you found you a conservative Nigerian woman who was black as night, and they exist, you want to find some conservatives, go to a Bible-thumping African person's house, West African in particular, and you will see the blood of Christ being spoken about every 13 seconds. Ask me how I know. Yes? So, if y'all really wanted conservatism, the real kind, you would find you an African Christian woman who goes to church every Sunday, believes in the blood of Jesus, and that her man gets the big piece of chicken. They exist. They exist. So don't tell me that this is about black women not having the back of one of their... Thank you. Go to Dallas. Child, go to Dallas. Go to Houston. Go to certain parts of LA, right? So this is not about that. I'm very clear, Nara's very clear, that her being a more ambiguous, fair-skinned German black woman with a husband whose name is Lucky Blue. Her husband is a model named Lucky Blue who looks like James Dean. And y'all want to tell me, okay, let me shut up. Thank you. This is the true Dennis deception. Good one, Mitson.
Did you see her last video? The sleeves, the pronunciation of Capri Sun, the fact that she's just making juice. It's all just, mwah. It's hilarious.
You guys, did you laugh? She's saying that Nara Smith is a brilliant satirist, and it's all mwah, chef's kiss. It's hilarious. watching a black woman from another country cosplay one of the worst times for black women in American history. Mwah, chef's kiss. Bridget Kelly, my friend who is biracial, has told me that her least favorite era in American history is the 50s because of just what it meant. Bridget hates the 50s. I'm an old school girl. I want to do a 50s pinup outfit and dress like Betty Boop in them because, you know, I love to do me a housewife. Y'all know the minute I get bangs, a bang, I'm giving 50s housewife. But I used to be like, Bridget used to be like, Blue, I love it when you dress like a 50s housewife. That look looks really good on you. And I still hate that era. I said, no, that's true. Because as in the 50s, I probably would have been in the basement somewhere, you know, birthing a baby that I can't claim. I get it, right? I get it. So I love the aesthetic, but the time that it's hearkening us back to is actually quite trash, right? When Trump says make America great, he's talking about this era. Nobody thought it was suspicious that while a man is saying make America great, a bunch of little girls are being taught to dress, act, and cook and clean and give up their rights in the exact way that was prevalent at the time that America was great. Didn't nobody connect them dots? Nobody? Pre-Selma? None of us connected the dots that everybody feeling nostalgic for pre-Selma era shenanigans might not be a good thing. Thank you. I love the 50s aesthetic, but Bridget taught me something, okay? That's why I always tell y'all, sometimes your biracial friends be more woke than y'all give them credit for. Shout out to my homegirl. By the way, speaking of Bridget, me and Bridget will be doing a Married at First Sight deep dive on Saturday. Y'all keep harassing me. I've been harassed to talk about Married at First Sight. So that's going to happen on Saturday, okay? Let me get rid of my cramps first, and then we can talk about whatever in the sassy hell is going on with that show. Anyways, back to this white lady trying to convince us that water's not wet.
Calling Nara Smith a satirist is offensive to people who actually do satire, because satire is not simply just something that's exaggerated, right? Like, I see people making this argument that it's like, well, she was doing this in designer, so of course it was a joke. It's like that thing doesn't make, just because she's doing something in an exaggerated way doesn't inherently make it satire. And you know who's a satirist? Drewski.
Yes. That
man was suspended from wire in a building talking about, I wear Christian Dior because I'm a Christian, I walk in the blood of Christ.
Shout out to Drewski. Drewski is an amazing satirist. If you ever want to know what a satirist looks like, think of Drewski. If it don't remind you of Drewski, or even better, Eddie Murphy, it's not satire. By the way, members only, we are going to be doing the first, I think, hour and a half for the general pop. Y'all hate when I call y'all that, but it's quite literally what it is. So we're going to do the first hour and a half gen pop, and then we're going to do the rest behind the paywall.
The critique is clear there, right? It's so clear, the issue that he's calling our attention to, right? Which is like money and religion, the way that like pastors, particularly in the black church, like take advantage of the parishioners, right? Like the issue, the social commentary and critique is clear. Right. And yes, he's also doing it in an exaggerated way, but like he's making an argument within the exaggeration. What is Nara Smith's critique? Right. It would be satire if she was both dressed in the designer and then in her voiceovers, like talking about like feminism, talking about the way that women are marginalized, and like the way that women take on like an outside share of domestic labor. Right. Like that would be satire. Yeah.
By the way, she's brilliantly outlining what actual satire would look like. And she did such a great job breaking it down. Y'all know what I had to do. I had to do some research. I said, is there anybody who has done a proper satire to show how much Nara Smith, if she was a satirist, she sucks at it? And I found one. So right after this clip, we're going to show you what a satire would actually look like if that's what Nara Smith was trying to do.
Yes. And if she was doing it in a way that was, yes, that would make it satire. But she did that in earnest. Right. And then she was doing it in earnest. And then when she went on the podcast, she's like, no, I wasn't doing that at all. Like, right. Like satirists lean into the satire of it all. And the joke is evident. Right. It's not it's not like satire, like the joke is not hidden. It is evident and on the surface. Right. And we use like satirists use the absurdity of what's happening in order to draw our attention to the critique that they're making.
Yep.
We can no, and you can like Nara Smith, that's fine. I don't even actually have feelings about that lady. I'm gonna be honest with you. You can like her, but you cannot just say, oh well, it's satire. It's like no, it wasn't. we see satire every day. I'm very clear on what satire is, and it was not what she was doing.
I recently noticed that the luster for the lifestyle I've profited from has faded, so I decided to make a new image.
I recently noticed that the luster has faded from my fake image. So I decided to make a rebrand from scratch. That first sentence eats. Okay, y'all. I'm gonna take away the comments so y'all can read. Do you see how fucking brilliant satirists are? I almost want to play this bitch back. Hold on for a second. Let me see if I can play this back again. I need y'all to understand. I'm getting shivers as a writer. I need you to understand just how brilliant and concise and restrained you have to be a true satirist. Let's rewind this a little bit. And shout out to this creative sister you ate.
Every day. I'm very clear what satire is, and it was not what she was doing.
I recently noticed that the luster for the lifestyle I've profited from has faded, so I decided to make a new image from scratch. And
Bitch, you fucking ate. This is longer, but you fucking ate. Yes, satire is humor at its mastery. As someone who's been invited to work in comedy writing rooms and I've declined because I'm scared that I'm not brilliant enough. I'm working through that. Shout out to my therapist. But I have such a deep respect for intentional comedy because as an autistic person, I'm always unintentionally funny. It's never on purpose, right? I have such a deep respect for comedy. As somebody who grew up watching Eddie Murphy, to me, satire is at the height. The Eddies, the Chappelles, right? Even though Chappelle had some things about trans people that I absolutely abhor that he said, I'm never going to rewrite history about his brilliance, yes? So when you think about an Eddie Murphy, a Chappelle, and then a Drewski, that's not what in the fuck y'all saw in the first 30 seconds of the video when Nara Smith was talking. That's not. But let this girl continue to cook because she's amazing.
in a large bowl, start with an interview on a popular podcast using your regular voice. Gently fold in details of how your life contradicts the traditional persona you spent years building. Then sprinkle in defensiveness, gaslighting, and a pinch of classism. Don't worry about acknowledging feminism. This recipe doesn't call for that. You'll need to whisk the mixture with ways your husband supports you with selective limited domestic labor until it reaches a stiff peak. Next, you'll want to pour the mixture into one pot, symbolizing the multiple streams of income that you share with your husband.
Ooh, this is like the comedy version of like genteel battle rap. Yes, they're using your regular voice. We all know that Nara Smith has a fake voice on her videos, but when she was trying to tell us, well, how I get in it, suddenly she got a regular voice. Oh, this is so fucking good. This is so fucking good. If you go to this lady's page, tell her that her Bluecentric sent you. I'm an instant fan right now.
As an equal breadwinner, you'll want to leave it on the stove until public opinion reaches a boil, and then reduce to simmer until book release date. You'll know it's ready when the praise of your supermom business savvy and productivity are as frequent as the ones from when you would take 7 business days to make your toddler's mid-morning snack from scratch. Cover with the shield of proximity to whiteness.
Cover with the shield of proximity to whiteness, bitch. I am aghast. My breath is took. Whew. She a battle rapper. I know Cheech be liking to call me a battle rap when I go in on folks in my lives. Lady, the shield of proximity to whiteness coming from an actual white woman. Nara Smith probably has you blocked. And I get it. Yes, not the baddie chain. Come and get your baddie chain. Come and get your baddie chain. Whew. Okay, let me continue. But do you see how different satire actually looks from what Nara Smith does? Do you see how different? Okay.
Schiaparelli is optional but strongly recommended. Uncover once people have forgotten how you contributed to the Tradwife pipeline. And there you have it, a new image from scratch.
And the thing I keep coming back to in this Nara Smith conversation is the ways in which propaganda operates, and the ways particularly that people who perpetuate propaganda will leave themselves just enough room for plausible deniability later to say that they didn't actually do the thing that they
leave just enough room for plausible deniability. So when the grift runs out, you can pretend you were never even a part of it, bitch. Let me tell you, one of the things I love about doing this show is all the brilliant creators that we get to highlight. And this episode in particular, I'm going to be honest with you, this was supposed to be a 2-part, where number 1, we were talking about Nara Smith, and number 2, we're talking about another influencer-related kerfuffle that I want to unpack. The Nara Smith discourse was so brilliant, it actually, I'm going to have to make a second video for the second topic. The Nara Smith video had so many twists and turns, and I fell down a well. Okay, y'all know what happens when somebody with autism starts to research. Nara Smith alone is going to be the entire topic because there's just too much to talk about. I think it was naive of me to think that Nara Smith would be such a quick topic that we could talk about anything else. So the second video will come out later this week, but this one alone, I need y'all to sit with it because I'm going to be honest. A lot of people who are watching this, men and women alike, have found themselves aching for old school shit, myself included. And watching this cured me of that. I'm not saying that I don't want more time to breathe, more time to think, to simplify my life, to recover from the lies of girl bosshood. Sure. And I don't need to give up my rights to do that. And there was a time, I think it was last year, where a bunch of my friends and I were so tired. We were all like, we just need to get pregnant and say, fuck this. It was a whole group of us. We just need to get pregnant, find us a cute husband, or if we have a husband, make sure he gets us pregnant and say, fuck it. Because we tired of working. Baby, that was just perimenopause. That shit wasn't real. But I also recognized, though, my timeline was slowly feeding me. Baby Blue, if you just find you a good nigga and let him put a baby in whatever couple of eggs you got left in the back of that fridge, girl, you ain't got nothing else to worry about. You already look good in bangs, right? My 50s aesthetic because I have a heart-shaped face. By the way, if you're a girl with a heart-shaped face, and heart-shaped means it's pointy down here and then it's straight and boxy up here like a heart, right? Girls with heart-shaped faces, we look good with bangs. It just so happens that bangs are associated with the 50s, right? So I'm thinking, well, bitch, I already looked the part. Maybe I should let one of these niggas just, shoot up the club and see what happened and get me a little surprise announcement. And then I was like, girl, they got you. That's propaganda. Thank you. Shout out to all the girls in here. Shout out to all the girls in here who understand. Yes? And for those who are saying, are you misinterpreting what you're saying? Are you in for nostalgia? You're in for nostalgia just means you're getting old, baby. It just means you're over 35. That's normal. So you're in for nostalgia is not the problem. You're in for nostalgia, including the parts where you forgot where you lost your rights. You're talking about the 90s. I'm talking about the 50s. Okay, missing neon colors because you love chartreuse like I do, and wanting to have a curly bang a la Tina Turner is not what we're talking about. Most of the people in here were not even alive in the 50s. And if you were, shout out to our elders. Yes, we love you. But I'm just saying, you can't be nostalgic for some shit that you ain't never been around for. Your daddy hadn't even busted the club yet in the 50s. Respectfully, right? I love it. I love it. Yes, I love that time aesthetically. And then you double click on where me and you would be in that time. We'd be in the kitchen somewhere, hoping not to get slapped by Jack and them. Okay.
They did. Because that woman is trying to look us dead in our face and tell us that the thing we saw her do for years on end is not true, because by a technical definition, her life does not match that. So therefore, she could not have been perpetuating that very propaganda. In doing so, she's trying to ignore all the ways that she often implicitly, but sometimes explicitly, fed into this idea that women exist only in the domestic sphere, that like they are happiest when they are like cooking and cleaning and looking beautiful and having children at a young age. She is trying to tell us that we did not see that or experience it simply because that is not what her life on a day-to-day basis looks like. And if I zoom
at 24, the gag is somebody who wasn't even around for the 1900s, somebody who does not even know what the 90s tasted like, somebody who was born 2 years after the millennial started, is trying to convince everybody else to go back to the 50s. Nara, baby, were your parents even alive in the 50s?
Zoom this conversation out from Nara Smith herself, I think it says a lot about how systems of oppression and violence operate, because they will do things that are harmful and violent to marginalized communities and then turn around and say, it's like, well, by a very technical definition, I didn't actually do that thing. Or they will shrink the definition of what the thing is to try to twist the perception to make it seem like they're not perpetuating propaganda, perpetuating harm, or perpetuating violence. And as I've said before, things like racism and fat phobia and misogyny do not have to be explicit in order for them to happen. These systems of violence are often perpetuated implicitly, and it only serves the interests of the propagandists and of the people who are interested in perpetuating systems of violence to pretend as if that implicit violence both is not happening and is not in and of itself harmful.
Now, that was a word. Shout out to that creator. That was so brilliantly said. I did not want to interrupt it. And while I was looking in their comments, somebody made a comment that I was actually thinking about. It says here, collaborating with Ballerina Farms kind of ends her argument in its tracks. Like, is she for real? Again, you can't be hanging out with Beyonce all the time and try to convince us you're not Kelly. Yes? Number 2 comment that I loved here was, this book was announced in spring. It's being made into a movie. And since Nara and Ballerina Farms have distanced themselves from the label Tradwife because of the movie, right? So the minute it was announced that Yesteryear was being made into a movie, suddenly Nara and Ballerina Farms said, we got to break up the band. Destiny's Child can't exist no more. We have to go find Farrah and her luggage and go sit with them, right? And if you don't know what Yesteryear is a book that I was considering for the book club, because y'all know in the winter time when it's cozy and I'm not teaching classes all the time, I like to do a little book club. One, two, three. We had a Kennedy Ryan book one time. I think I might try to do 2 books this winter instead of just one with y'all. But I thought about Yesteryear because Yesteryear is a book about a modern day trad wife in the 2020s who has millions of followers and is grifting as a trad wife, even though she hates being a mother because she wants to be a millionaire. And one day she falls asleep and wakes up in the 1800s. Like, oh shit, God, I was just playing. I didn't actually mean this shit. So a grifter influencer in the 2020s goes to sleep and wakes up in the 1800s. And it's like, ah, shit. Right? So that book is clearly being marketed as a jab at Nara and Ballerina Farms. Now, I don't know if it's good or not. Some of you are saying it's good. Some of you are saying they're not sure yet. Gia says it's good. Empress is like, really? Yeah. So I'm considering at least doing the audiobook. Maybe I can listen to it while I'm working in the shop. But the minute I saw this comment, y'all know my ADHD. You guys, we're about to do an ADHD detour. Y'all know how this happens. We have a main topic, and then my brain goes, ooh, a bird. And then we go somewhere else, and we come back. So we're about to slip into book talk for a second, right? And the book reading community, because that's a whole community over there, child. And what do you mean Yesteryear? And I was curious, did Ballerina Farms and Nara ever respond to Yesteryear? So let's get into that real quick. I love this. I love this show so much. Oh, y'all are saying it's good.
Is Nara Smith satire? Was Yesteryear an effective satire? I read Yesteryear recently, and by all accounts, this book is being celebrated as a sharp satire, an unapologetic social commentary on the performances of modern womanhood, and wickedly funny. And while I did feel some of those things, it's definitely a very topical read that hits on the hypocrisy of social media, and it's a bit unhinged. I didn't personally feel like it was a very effective satire of what it was marketed to be, so I wanted to do a bit more
I think what she's saying is, it might have been a good book, but it was a shitty satire. And now that we understand the bar for satire is much higher than just good writing, I can see how both truths can be true. I can see how somebody could enjoy Yesteryear as a book and as a general commentary, but say that it's not touching Drewski or Eddie Murphy or Chappelle as a satire. Somebody said, you feed our brains. That's actually the intention. So thank you for that. That's one of the biggest compliments y'all can give me, especially when I'm PMSing right now and fighting for my life on my dolls. All right. So let's see what her review is, because I'm curious. I intentionally didn't watch this review because I wanted to hear what she had to say with y'all.
Research and really dive deeper into satire as a genre and figure out exactly what the author was trying to say. The reason I actually started thinking about this was because in my book review for Yesteryear, I asked a bit cheekily, but also with genuine curiosity, do we think Nara Smith is going to be reading this book? When I think of the emblematic tradwife aesthetic, at least for me personally, Nara Smith comes to mind. She showcases her lifestyle cooking meals from scratch for her family with her big brood of children and her like James Dean-esque husband.
A big brood of children by 24. Oh my God. That feels in 2026. Yeah.
From what I understand about her, she's always been kind of like a neutral blank canvas politically, never speaking up or pushing back when people have associated her content with promoting conservative ideals. I received a few comments pushing back on this comparison and saying that Nara Smith is clearly satire. What is Nara Smith satire of exactly? She clearly leans into the farm girl tradwife aesthetic, whether that's because she actually lives that way or not. She very much wants to be perceived that way. There's nothing inherently wrong with women having a lot of babies and caretaking and cooking, but I think the aesthetic has a lot of baggage and was created as this like right-wing fantasy for women, which they very much want women to return to. Anyway.
Yes, that is the perfect encapsulation. Tradwifery. The tradwife trend is a conservative wet dream about what life should look like for women. I feel like the man with the little mustache who used to put his hand in the air in the 40s. I feel like him and y'all's president probably are sexually aroused from the thought of a whole country of trad wives. That doesn't make y'all nervous.
Let's discuss yesteryear. Satire is a genre in which vices, follies, abuses, and shortcomings are held up to ridicule, often with the intent of exposing or shaming the perceived flaws of individuals, corporations, governments, or society itself into improvement. When I think about what felt exaggerated for satirical effect in the book, I think there are a few things. For me, the main one was the lengths Natalie goes to perform her role as online Natalie, a good Christian woman. She pops out children nonstop. She has a producer to film the content and a whole staff and line of nannies to actually construct the life she wants to be seen living. In reality, she's a hateful and cruel woman, and to me, this irony was most effective in critiquing the fantasy of social media. The happy, loving, perfect family vibe when Natalie actually detests motherhood and her husband. I also found the dynamic between her and her husband Caleb pretty interesting. It's clear to me that she wishes she was the trad husband, but instead feels the need to perform the perfect trad wife. Only for the cameras, though, of course. When Natalie finds herself in 1855, she gets a taste of living the life she pretended to live online, which is pretty obvious irony, and she immediately hates it. But everything sort of falls apart in the reveal for me. You learn that living this way had been her choice, actually, and she's slowly become more and more mentally unwell. What's frustrating to me about the choices the author made is that I feel like ultimately there wasn't really anything to say about these traditional gender structures or conservative values.
You guys, if you're new here, you said every day that passes, we are one step closer to Handmaid's Tale. You accidentally stepped into a trap, so I'm not going to get mad at you. I'm just going to say this. The Handmaid's Tale is not something that we're leading to. The Handmaid's Tale are the stolen stories of BIPOC women that were superimposed on a white lady pretending to be the Harriet Tubman of feminism. Handmaid's Tale, the author has admitted that every atrocity that came from the Handmaid's Tale TV series actually was something that she ripped from the headlines that pre-existed to Black, brown, Asian, and indigenous people across the world, women specifically. So the author took the real life pain that already happened historically to Black, brown, Asian, and indigenous women, superimposed it on a blonde lady with blonde hair and blue eyes who in real life is a Scientologist, made her into the white Harriet Tubman, sold y'all white feminist roots, and now y'all think that she's a fucking Nostradamus or shit or a visionary just because she resold you something that's already happened. We're not already closer to the Handmaid's Tale. The Handmaid's Tale is a reflection of what's already came. Sorry. Y'all keep giving this white lady credit for taking Black and brown and indigenous women's pain and putting it on the blonde lady. And now you think that she's a soothsayer and a prophet when she just turned the mirror at nigga shit. Handmaid's Tale is white Harriet Tubman. It's the story of white Harriet Tubman. What's the story of roots through the eyes of white Harriet Tubman. And everything that's supposed to be applied to Black people is instead applied to white feminists. It's a white feminist oppression Olympics fever dream where they get to be the oppressed party and Black women get to be sidekicks who are always loyal but never chosen by the men. Y'all, those of you who've been here for a while know that I get triggered by The Handmaid's Tale because it's peak white feminism bullshit. And once you look at the writer's room and see that it's mostly white people and a single gay Black guy, and it changed a little bit, but it's not us in there. You start to be like, why is it, even though this woman is a mediocre looking white woman who's shaped like an iPhone, every man of color who sees her wants to be with her? Because in the white woman's feminist fantasy, all men of color are mandingos who want to fuck them. White, Black, Asian, they all want to fuck them, right? Why is it the white woman is a very mediocre looking white woman even by conventional attractive standards? And yet every single man of color that she comes across not only wants to fuck her, her husband in the show is a Black man who cussed out his Black wife and left her to be with the white lady. And in one scene, I think in season 1 or 2, when they flash back to their origin story of their love story, you see the Black wife show up and say, husband, why'd you leave me? And he says to the white lady, I'm so sorry this bitch is being rude to you. Come here, my white queen. And then they flash back to present day where she as white Harriet Tubman is on the Underground Railroad. And when the Asian man that she's been stooping is so enamored by her lack of beauty, decides to put his life in danger, to put her on the literal Underground Railroad. It's a black man who says, damn, miss, hey, strange white lady I never met before. If I help you on the Underground Railroad, because feminism has replaced blackness as an oppressed party, I might put my life in danger. But fuck it, I'll do it for you, white lady stranger. And then the black man helps the white lady on the Underground Railroad. If you're a fan of Handmaid's Tale, go watch it back. Somebody said, yeah, I heard Blue first say this. I couldn't see it in the same way. Happy I never feel. The Underground Railroad episode, I couldn't push past it. I actually couldn't. I couldn't continue. I said, so you started as White Roots, but now she's literally Harriet Tubman. They literally have an underground trail for her to get to. Instead of to the New York where freedom was for the people, it's Canada. White Harriet Tubman was trying to get to freedom in Canada. This lady stole roots and called it feminism. And y'all keep saying, oh my God, she's such a prophet. It's like The Simpsons. She's predicting. Sorry. See, not y'all making me do a detour in the middle of an already existing detour. All right, I'm back. Yeah, fuck Handmaid's Tale, but I'm back. Okay, let's continue with this other foolishness.
Like, obviously there's religious and societal pressure for her to be this like stereotypical mother perhaps, but I feel like she had a high amount of agency and in fact abused everyone else around her to make herself conform to the idea of this woman. And then she specifically chose to live as if it was 1855. I feel like her losing her mind and somehow being both the mastermind and the victim and the devout Christian lady was just like too many contradictions to make sense.
Wait, her being the mastermind and the victim is not a contradiction. That's white womanhood at its peak when it's unchecked by intersectionality. I have many white friends, and the reason why I feel safe with them is because they understand the intersectionality of their privilege and them combating their privilege in order to do something about it to help the rest of us. They don't deny the internalized racism that they were spoon-fed. They instead confront it and then dismantle it so they can help dismantle the racism that lives outside of them, right? You have to go within before you go without, yes? So I just find it interesting, this lady saying, well, how is she the victim and the demon? Baby, that's pretty on par for the demo, but okay.
Vulture just posted an article about Miss Ballerina Farm, and they asked her about yesteryear. The article is titled Ballerina Farm.
Yes, Octavia Butler is the prophet that y'all think Handmaid's Tale is. Put some fucking respect on her name. She predicted shit. She's who you need to be giving all that credit to. But of course, God forbid we give credit to a black woman who actually saw into the future. We'd rather give it to the white woman who's just looking into the past and mining old people's pain. But okay.
Farm is happy with her choices, and then it quotes her in the title saying, my greatest work is within the walls of my home. It's a Q&A style article, and they ask her, let's talk about yesteryear. You haven't read it, right? And she responded and said, I know what's going on.
So they asked Ballerina Farms, the Beyonce of trad wife bullshit, have you heard of, did you read yesteryear? She said, I've heard of it. By the way, those who are saying, Blue, I'm over here with my jaw on the floor. Welcome to the show. Literally, the intention of the show is to use pop culture, politics, and current events as a way to rope you in to make you smarter. Because we're in an disinformation war right now where propaganda is making everybody intentionally stupider. The reason why this show has double the engagement of the average YouTube show, right? Engagement, right? Even though I only have like 53,000 followers, engagement-wise, I'm in the top 1% of YouTube for engagement. And that's because we're here for edutainment. We're using entertainment to educate you. The entire point is not for you to agree with me, not for you to turn this into a cult, not for you to think I have all the answers, but for me to teach you how to ask smarter questions with a better, more historically accurate framework. So even when we don't agree, I can still respect your arguments, right? And that's radical for social media because social media is supposed to make you a sheep. I'm trying to teach you how to be a shepherd and open the fucking gate and let the other sheep out. Big difference. So welcome if you're new here. This is usually how we do things in general. So yes, back to Ballerina Farms, back to trad wife Beyonce. She said, oh, yesteryear. Yeah, I think I've heard of it. Y'all really think this lady had a whole book written about her that Anne Hathaway's about to turn into a movie and she just barely heard of it? Girl.
which sounds like a no to me. I'm going to read her next two responses because I want to talk to you about them. They ask, what do you think about the speculation that you inspire the main character? And she says, I've had an online presence for enough time to know that people like to be entertained. I've been the butt of jokes and reels that I've seen. It didn't really surprise me. I think it just comes with the eyes. There's so much discourse like, oh my gosh, it's such a big family and there's no way she can be doing this. So it was like all these ideas are bubbling up to this fictional, entertaining book about trad wives. I'm surprised it didn't come sooner, honestly.
Did she answer the question? She said, they said, hey, lady, they did a whole book about you, bitch. How you feel about it? And she said, you know, I be online. I got Wi-Fi and people be talking shit on Wi-Fi and I be up here feeding my babies and my chicken stuff. And, you know, I'm just surprised the book didn't happen sooner. Carry the one. What? Y'all don't understand. I watched this clip 4 times before I put it in here. I still don't know what the lady said. I still don't know what the lady said.
Again, was a lot of words for her to not share her thoughts at all, because how could she? Because she hasn't read it. Then they ask her, what do you think about all the trad wife discourse? She said, before trad wives, it was the mommy blogger phase, right? Which I would like to point out was also super harmful. And I know she's sharing that because that's something that also drew a lot of criticism, but it also drew a lot of criticism for a lot of good reasons because, hello, the Ruby Frankie of it all.
Those who don't know who Ruby Frankie is, she is a Mormon trad wife. I think she's Mormon, yeah, because she was in Utah. She's a Mormon trad wife who kept on getting pregnant for content. And she kept on making babies for content. Slowly but surely, her husband started to disappear out of the frame because he was like, bitch, this is starting to feel like child abuse. And she slowly turned her kids into a cult, would have them sleeping on the floor, would lock them in cages, and would only let them out to go to Marcus, would have them come out and dance on the camera and then put them back in the cage. And one day, one of the kids crawled out a window or some shit and ran to a neighbor and said, help me, sir. I need some water and some bread. And then the police came and now she's in jail. Women are having children for content. That's how bad it's gotten, guys.
I think it's funny that she referenced that because the other person that people relate the main character of yesteryear to is Ruby Frankie, who was a mommy vlogger. But yes, Hannah, just as much criticism for just as good of reasons. Then she says, people have always been fascinated with mothers making money being at home with their children. That is not what the criticism is, by the way. With online discourse, women feed off that negative energy sometimes, and that's why things blow up. I honestly stay away from it as much as I can. So when the term trad wife comes up or I'm seeing things about yesteryear, I don't lean into them. I don't think women who want to work are winning. I don't think mothers are winning. In fact, I think it's a step backward. If someone wants to be a mother, great. If someone wants to be a mother and sell sourdough bread kits, great. We have to support and cheer each other on, even if it doesn't look like what our home life looks like. Notice how she didn't say, if you don't want to be a mother, great. I just think it's interesting that these women don't want to critically engage with what is being said about them and
while still profiting heavily in the millions. Imagine profiting in the millions from something that is deteriorating the fabric of society and modern progress. Imagine profiting millions before your 30th birthday by being part of what will ensure that women who come after you are fucked. But look, at least you have a 50s bang and you a ballerina who can stand on your tippy toes in front of a cow, in front of, on your farm looking like the Venus on a half shell. At least you can serve looks, right?
the systems they uphold online. Because this really isn't about Hannah Nealman in particular, or even Nara Smith in particular, or Ruby Frankie in particular, although the Ruby Frankie of it all was her in particular. It's about the systems of harm and control that these women are upholding and performing online.
The systems of harm that these women are upholding and performing online. You guys, I'm upholding critical thinking. I'm not performing it because I am a critical thinker, right? But I am sitting here as an example of critical thinking. I would be a dumbass to think that nobody who's watching this is going to be in some way moved to think more critically. Having an influence, having an impact is kind of the whole fucking point. Yes? So it's crazy that there's 100,000 there. I understand this. Yet there are people who are multimillionaires who are feigning stupidity while trying to sell books.
while often having something different entirely going on behind the scenes. And their refusal to acknowledge that or even attempt to understand what the criticism is about and just boiling it down to negativity about people who live differently than them, I think does a disservice to every woman and every mother, no matter what you believe, no matter who you are. And it's their inability to accept different lifestyles and acknowledge the nuance and the criticism and the harm that some women experience at the hands of the lifestyles and the systems that they prop up, while claiming that they only get criticism because of non-acceptance and the inability to engage with nuance.
The fact that they're trying to say that it's anti-feminist to critique them when their entire... It's anti-feminist to critique women who are setting back women's rights. What the fuck? This is why I don't call myself a feminist. This is why I call myself a womanist. Shout out to Alice Walker, even though she was mean to me back in 97. This is why I don't call myself a feminist. There's doo-doo all over it. I call myself a womanist because the lack of intersectionality is where feminists who want to live out their dreams, their sexual dreams about pretending to be oppressed, run to hide. This is why I can't claim it. I will claim womanism all day, or even intersectional feminism, right? Because even the term is intentional and includes the fact that some women are not just worried about being women, all right? As a Black woman, being Black is going to kill me as much as being a woman, yes? So intersectional feminism means that I'm not just a white lady, so I can have other things on top of being a woman that are gonna fuck me over. Regular feminism, or the feminism that has been normalized and weaponized, is meant for white women because the only thing they got to worry about is being women. They don't have to worry about race or economics. It's bullshit to me personally, right? And it makes me sad because I'm exactly who true feminism was built for, and I can't even claim it. Y'all done ruined the party for the rest of us. I'm probably more feminist than women who use the term, and yet because of the women who use the term, I can't use it now. Ooh, the ghetto, child. White fridges everywhere.
That I find so frustrating. And really, like, this was a whole article about Hannah Nealman saying nothing.
I was a child as well. Alice Walker was mean to me when I was a kid, but that's a whole other story time.
As always, I really wish sometimes that she would stand 10 toes down and fully engage with the discourse and actually say, this is what people are saying about me. And yes, I believe in this because, or no, I don't believe in this because. Instead, she just says, I vaguely am aware of what's going on, but no, I haven't read it. And no, I don't watch any of it. And no, I don't actually listen to it. It's all just noise and negativity to me. And it's entirely expected, but still.
Is she in a tiara milking a cow? Bitch. How am I going to get through this video? This is why I couldn't do two topics. If you thought this was going to be a quick live, you might want to get you a charcuterie plate. I know it's charcuterie. I'm being facetious, guys. But you might want to get you a charcuterie plate and some snacks because we're going to be here for a while. We are only like a quarter through the fucking montage, and I'm already fighting for my life. Is she wearing a tiara while milking a cow? Oh, bon Dieu. Well, okay.
Oh, disappointing and frustrating.
Now, another detour. So when I went through the detour of book talk, it pulled me into Yesteryear and Ballerina Farms, which then pulled me into this Netflix doc spoof that says, the Netflix documentary where I spilled the beans about the white man that ghostwrites as a Black woman. I said, now hold on. I can't go back to Nara Smith until I get to the bottom of this. What you mean there's a white man writing books, a whole book series cosplaying as a Black woman? So guys, I'm about to take another detour. Child, the ADHD was loud. Y'all can tell I'm unmedicated. Just raw dog in life. All types of tisms, right? So yeah, we're about to do a quick investigation into who the fuck is this? Because I want to call this man out in case you accidentally read his books. By the way, rest in peace to the woman who did a TikTok, a Netflix doc spoof that said, hey, the Netflix doc about how I found out that my husband was a PDF file. And a couple of days later, he unalived her. So rest in peace to her family. It actually happened the day after the TikTok. If you haven't seen, we did a whole live about how the Netflix doc thing is causing chaos in people's lives. Well, the next day, somebody lost their life. And I was going to come back and discuss it, but it just felt too heavy. So rest in peace to her and her family. Please be careful who you expose in these fake Netflix dog trends, because somebody's dead because of it. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that on TikTok. Sorry. Somebody's not alive because of it. Her abuser saw it and got into her house and unalived her and himself. So please rest in peace to her and her family, sincerely. I've been meaning to say that for 2 weeks now.
After a long day of snooping and minding business that's not mine, I think I may have gotten something. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I know how you girls like getting more bounce to the ounce, but I feel some type of way about this, and let me know if I'm wrong feeling this type of way or not. Now, y'all know.
By the way, this lady did the investigation for me. I said, did anybody else find out who this motherfucker was? Because who the hell, what white man is going to do a whole series pretending to be a black woman and get it right without somebody catching on? So I did some snooping. And our good sis, what's her name? I want to shout her out. Our good sis, Cookie Baby 2. Shout out to Cookie, okay? Cookie said, now hold on, bitch. I read some of them books. Some ain't right.
Do book reviews. I found this book called Murderous Fried Chicken and Waffles, and I really wanted to read it because I used to read a lot of the Joanne Fluke books, right? My first.
Now, y'all don't know this because I don't think I share this often, but actually I've shared it a couple of times. Murderous mysteries are my favorite genre because I grew up reading Agatha Christie, because Agatha Christie books were the only books where being neurodivergent and paying too much attention were a good thing, right? So there's a book, I think it was the Goldilocks Catering. Hold on, let me look it up. The Goldilocks Catering mystery series was written by a woman named Diane Mott. I used to love the Diane Mott Goldilocks Kate. Oh my God, I wonder if she has any more new books. When I was young and broke as fuck, I would listen to Goldilocks, Diane Mott's murder series, and those books of Goldilocks cooking and doing all this fun stuff and catering. And she'd be catering in the Swiss Alps somewhere, and somebody would get murdered, like on the trail, and then she'd have to figure out who it is while making a lemon meringue. I love me murder mysteries, cozy mysteries, and thrillers. Anything that's going to fuck my mind like a thriller, or make me be like, now hold on, what's that? Because my brain naturally likes to do that anyways. So as somebody who loved the Diane Mott murder mystery series, shout out to Goldilocks Catering, I should see if there's any more of those books. When this lady said the reason that she started reading the book written by the charlatan that we're about to expose right now was because she liked reading another author who has catering murder mysteries, I was like, bitch, we the same person. And who better than a murder mystery lover than to figure out who is this man? Yes, we do have a book club, but it only happens in the winter because I'm too busy otherwise. So we're trying to figure out what the next book should be. If you are a member, look up the book club meeting that we had for Kennedy Ryan. I think the book is called, what's the Kennedy Ryan book that we did, y'all? Hold on. Kennedy Ryan, Never Too Much? I think it's Never Too Much. Kennedy Ryan, Never Too Much. The beautiful thing about having a members only area is it Never Too Much? I think it is. Yes. No, Can't Get Enough. It's Can't Get Enough. So if you look up Kennedy Ryan, Can't Get Enough, and I'm going to pull up the picture real quick so y'all can see. Oh, the video is timed out. What do you mean it's timed out? Oh, whoever this picture is on their site, they didn't pay their bills. Yikes. Yo, it's embarrassing when you go to somebody's thing. It's called Can't Get Enough. It's Kennedy Ryan, Can't Get Enough. Let me find, is this big enough? Too much, never too much, never too much. Wait, why can't I get to this picture? This is so, open the picture in a new tab. You guys, even though Mercury retrograde is over, I still have some Mercury retrograde PTSD. Yeah, the picture that I previously used, the person who had the picture up, just look it up, child. It's a purple cover with a black woman afro. Yes, but it's not Can't Get Enough. Can't Get Enough is good, but I actually think Can't Get Enough is good. I think Can't Get Enough is actually better than Never Too Much, personally. And it's number 3 of a 3-part series, right? So I'm going to do the book club again. We just have to figure out what the next book is going to be. And Kennedy Ryan really is that girl. But this lady said, hey, I love books about cozy murder mysteries. So one day I saw a cozy murder mystery. Now, usually cozy murder mysteries about caterers are about white women. She said she got excited because she saw a cozy murder mystery about a black woman. Now, instantly I get offended because, wait, this is exactly for me. A cozy murder mystery? A chef who's solving crime, and it's a black lady? This is exactly the book series that I would fall for. Well, child, it was written by a white man. Let's get into it.
Joanne Fluke book was Peach Cobbler and Murder or something like that. Peach Cobbler Murders, but I like
Not Peach Cobbler Murders. That is blatantly, heavy-handedly, satirically black.
these books because they're really cute. They're spoken in her voice. They have really good recipes during the book and when you read it and everything like that. So I was like, let me give, this other book a try. So this is the whole series: Murder with Fried Chicken and Waffles, Macaroni and Cheese, collard greens and hot sauce, honey.
Collard greens and hot sauce. Okay, this is getting slightly racist now. And for those who want to do the book club, I just put the link in the chat. So if you want to do the book club, I would say Can't Get Enough first. Read it or listen to it on audiobook, because we are a neurodivergent friendly space. I'm never going to pick a book that doesn't have an audiobook, because some people get stimulated by reading words on paper and need to hear it, right? So if you want to read Can't Get Enough, is it Never Too Much or Can't Get Enough? Can't Get Enough. If you want to read Can't Get Enough, read it and then go on the link that I put in the chat and you can watch the book club discussion after you read it. The beautiful thing about being a member is that you get to watch all the archives. So collard greens and hot sauce is a ridiculous name for a book. At a certain point, this is starting to feel a little racist, and I think I would be like, who the fuck wrote this as well?
And biscuits. Now, I'm just like, this sounds black as fuck to me. This sounds very, very Negroidian. And look at the author's name, A.L. Herbert. So I'm like, okay, this sounds like a black author, but this is...
Herbert? So it sounds like it was written... I'm sorry. Collard greens and hot sauce, ham hocks and biscuits, macaroni and cheese and murder, written by a nigga named Herbert. So there's we're supposed to think a fat black man who has auntie elbows wrote these books.
This is where I kind of knew something was awry. Yeah. So I'm reading the book and it just did not feel very authentic to me. The story's about Mahalia Watkins. She is a cook. I don't know. She don't want to call herself a chef because she's home top, but she makes soul food. She has a restaurant called Sweet Tea.
A black woman who's home top because she couldn't go to culinary school. This is familiar.
Now, I just felt from Mahalia's tone, she was very much elitist, very much hater. She turned her nose down on certain... that's the vibe I got from the main character. She was just like one of them blacks that was like, we don't allow bonnets in here. That's what I got. And then the description of her cousin, which is like the polar opposite, seemed very stereotypical. She wore tight clothes. She was heavier set. She was loud. She had the weave and the nails and everything like that. Yang, 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 yang. And I was like... And it's another thing too. Mahalia, Regine, Wybon, he picked
Mahalia, Regine, and Wybon.
Some of the blackest of black names for these characters. So Mahalia and Wybon are looking and gathering clues to see who the killer could be. And they gave someone fake names, and their fake names were Khadijah and Sinclair.
They went undercover to solve a murder, and their names were Khadijah. Yo, they're really watching us. We need to gatekeep better. They're really watching us.
Y'all okay? It's not that they picked the names for living single that really just was like, go figure. It's the fact that when they talked about it, they're like, she's been watching too much Living Single on TV One.
Y'all, if the lady's name is Yvonne, but this lady who reads books can't pronounce Yvonne, I'm going to scream. Somebody look up hot grease and chicken wings or whatever the fuck the book is called. Somebody please. No, hold on. Cookie, I had your back until the people in the chat told me that the lady might not have called somebody Yvonne and you just don't know how to read Yvonne. Cookie, I don't want to turn on you, Cookie, because you're reading, you're literate. Mispronouncing names does not make you illiterate. We're going to cover that in a second. So mispronouncing names does not make you illiterate because you're reading. Cookie, can somebody please look up the main characters and whatever the fuck these books are called? Fish grease and ham hocks. What are the books called, y'all? I don't even remember the names anymore. Because if the character's names is Yvonne and you keep saying Yvonne, Cookie, you are a reader as your brain. Okay, no. We're not doing this for Cookie. Justice for Cookie. No, justice for Cookie. Somebody look this shit up. Let my girl Cookie out. No. Can we confirm Can we confirm? Because now I don't even. You're seeing what? Okay, so this Wavon. So fuck whoever. Y'all are messed up. Y'all have me doubting my girl Cookie for a second. Okay, so it is Wavon. Wavon. Okay, it's not just okay. Cookie. Look at that. See, we had a moment. We had a dark night of the soul. I'm sorry I ever doubted you, but luckily our audience are also producers, right? They helped me produce the show. They looked it up. We got you some bail. You know how to pronounce Yvonne. It is Wavon. Okay. Let's continue, y'all, because I couldn't let Cookie keep talking until we clear that up.
Babe, try somebody else. Everyone in this book, if you're over 30, you've seen Living Single in real time. And what station did Living Single come on if you watched it live? Okay, Fox. That's not to say black people don't watch Living Single on TV One.
No, when black people think about Living Single, if you're over 30, you think of watching it on Fox. You don't think about TV One. TV One is like saying Nick at Night or watching something on reruns. But when we think of Living Single in real time for that age demographic, and based on the book, the people in this book are from that age demographic, it wouldn't be TV One. It would be Fox. That would actually be one of the things that made me be like, this don't feel Black American to me.
But like, we have never needed to watch Living Single on TV One, so I was thoroughly confused, and that was the final straw that I knew that a black person did not write this. So I began to look at the name, because I remember I said the name was A.L. Herbert, and it sounded a little colored in nature. But I'm gonna show you what I found. So these are the pictures that I immediately see, and this macaroni cheese is not African American in nature.
Is that macaroni cheese with croutons on it? Nah, nigga, that's okay. This is feeling more and more racist. That macaroni and cheese is as racist as Yvonne.
And I just look and see as black people, why is she up there? You know what I'm saying? And I just could not find anything until I got down here and I found this right here, the Reader's Radar, Patrick Sanchez. Now I found a cake.
Patrick Sanchez, a white Latino? Now Patrick. I intentionally didn't watch this because I wanted to go on this journey with y'all. I pray he's Afro-Latino, and maybe we just need to pull our brother aside and say, look at here, buddy. Maybe the fact that his name is Sanchez. No, that's not. I don't think it's gonna be a white Latino, isn't it? As a black Cuban who has to watch my white brethren get dragged rightfully all the time. Shout out to those of you who recognize that Latino is not a race; it's an ethnicity. And there's white Latinos, black Latinos, Asian Latinos, indigenous Latinos. White Latin people are still in the 50s. Unless they've done a lot of work intentionally not to be. If this is a white Latin man, I'm going to apologize preemptively.
Because I looked up Patrick Sanchez and I couldn't see anything. I didn't see no pictures, no nothing. I didn't see meet and greets or whatever like this. But I went and found a Facebook group that he is on. And it says A.L. Herbert. And then up there says Patrick Sanchez. They're the same person. They're not.
He put his real name on the cake with the other names to hide it in plain sight. Patrick, you ain't shit.
Separate people. And then I look even more. And y'all, look who Patrick Sanchez is.
Oh!
That's
that nigga look like Ted Cruz's cousin. It's always them. It's always them. Y'all are always embarrassing us. It's always them. I'm not going to say what he looked like because nothing I have to say is kind, but there might be some chromosomes missing.
Patrick Sanchez. And if you look closely, it says A.L. Herbert on his name tag. Do you know how hot I would be if I go to get my chicken fried book signed and I see this?
Not chicken fried. Well, first of all, why would you get a book called Chicken Fried?
Okay. White man signing instead of some big arm black lady signing a book? Pissed.
Okay, detour over. Sorry. That was a detour, wasn't it? Y'all could tell. Okay, we're back to the main topic.
Okay, there's one piece of the Nara Smith Call Her Daddy podcast interview that really stuck out to me that I haven't seen anyone talking about it. So I'm going to insert the clip and then we'll talk on the other side.
Okay. Household and cleaning, he does the dishes. I don't touch the dishes. There's no way you're going to see me washing and scrubbing the dishes. Also, he cleans our house.
So obviously this clip has been the subject of a lot of conversation, but I want to talk about a different part of it that I have not seen anyone bring up, which is her claim that Lucky Blue Smith, her husband, is cleaning their house.
Oh, American Fiction. I saw that. I saw American Fiction at a screening with Jeffrey Wright and Eric Alexander, who were exceptional in the movie. Great movie. We had literally like a little luncheon with them. It was us and a bunch of media folks for the Black Excellence Brunch, and it was such a great time. American Fiction, that's a great book, and that's actually a great point, Mitson. This really does, the Patrick Sanchez thing really does remind me of that movie. If you haven't seen that movie, go check it out.
House. I do not for a minute believe that. Telling me that these people have a combined net worth of $7 million and are still cleaning their own house. I do not believe it. Clearly, Nara Smith.
I'm 100,000 air and I don't clean my own house. I remember being on the couch realizing that I was about to leave the griot and was going to be living off my savings, and my cleaning lady walked up to me and asked me if I wanted to join. I wasn't even making that much money. People who are regular degular can find $160 a month when needed to have their house cleaned. So her acting like was $7 million, and I think you clean your own house.
Smith is an unreliable narrator. She always has been. It is shocking to me.
Is an unreliable narrator. It's an excellent. And by the way, unreliable narrators are so fascinating. In Agatha Christie books, they do that vehicle a lot, where they'll have a narrator who you think is a victim, and the entire time they're actually the killer. They're just crazy. I love unreliable narrators in books and in films, because Gone Girl is the perfect example of an unreliable narrator, right? Like, you think the poor woman's going through something, you find the whole time she's the demon. I think calling Nara Smith an unreliable narrator, unfortunately, is true, because we've only been doing this for an hour and some change, and we've caught her in how many lies already?
That this is shocking to anyone. She is a product that she is selling. When you are selling a product, you have to react to the market conditions. That is what she is doing. It seems clear to me that Nara Smith has been profiting off her misrepresentation of her own life. Nara Smith is basically trying to say, I'm not a trad wife because my husband and I have an equal marriage. The likelihood that that's true is obviously slim to none. Very few heterosexual marriages are actually legitimately equal. We are all aware of that. The premise of a trad wife is that the woman doesn't work because the husband is making enough money for the woman to run the home or have house help and then just like chill on Quaaludes all day. She is subverting that premise by being the one who is making all of the money. Her net worth is 6 times that of her husband. So that's all she really has to say. No, I'm not a trad wife because I make 6 times my husband. But she didn't say that. She is again trying to sell this image of, oh, well, we have an equal marriage. Did anyone actually buy that was who she was? I'm so confused.
Nara Smith sat up there and stole all that content from that South African creator that she never gave credit to, and then sued her when she spoke up for herself.
Now, many of you who were jumping in here 10 minutes into the live trying to get to this, you see how we didn't get into it for 90 minutes? Thank you for waiting. In my investigation, y'all know, I like to investigate all the key points that I keep on hearing. Not as a gotcha. I don't believe in gotchas, because the truth can get you without me. But because I want to see what's fact, what's fiction, right? So when I kept on hearing people say Nara Smith stole from the South African lady, I had heard about her stealing from the South African lady. I 1,000, a million, a trillion% believe that Nara Smith's team stole from that South African lady. What I wasn't sure I believed was when he said that Nara Smith sued the lady. Because I was like, Nara Smith's entire thing is playing Kelly to somebody, a white lady's Beyonce. And she's very much the kind of person who, like a Kim Kardashian, will go a very long time pretending nothing's happening while cashing her checks. It would take a lot for Nara Smith to respond, and I don't think she'd respond to the South African lady. I believe she stole from the South African lady, but I don't think she would respond by sending a DM and a cease and desist, unless it was done in a much more masterful way, because that in itself feels sloppy against the kind of person that I know her to be. Her team just feels too cunning for something that emotional and reactive. So we're going to do a quick investigation of, Nara Smith smoked stuff from that lady. I'm not investigating that. We're going to have receipts that show the lady would scratch her face, Nara would scratch her face. Lady would cough, Nara would cough. Nara didn't just steal her swag. It was frame by frame thievery. Yes? So the thievery I believe in, allegedly. Look at my team seeing me not get sued. Allegedly. I believe the allegations, yes? But the suing, I'm not sure about that. Let's look into it.
And just said, hey, stop stealing my content word for word, bar for bar. You took my whole flow. Mm-hmm. She sued that girl instead of stopping just, getting while the getting was good. She already had millions and millions.
She had to do the thing because she's on a book tour, love. Nara Smith wouldn't tell lies for free. She has to be paid to lie. She's lying to us because she's selling a book that just came out.
Of followers and millions of views. She was like, no, if I can't steal from you, I'm going to sue you. And now that she wants to distance herself, now that she's a little bit older and her frontal lobe is starting to develop and she's like, oh my God, I look like an idiot. Now she's starting to see that this trad wife shit really ain't it. And now she want to be a girl boss. And it's like, all right, that's cool and all, but like, you stole your way to the top. Just the worst type of people, man, to getting on, bruh.
So Nara Smith is threatening to sue content creator Oniswa.
So this is one of the videos that was the most popular around the Nara. Because my thing was, I don't think Nara Smith is innocent. I just don't think she's stupid either. And the way that the allegations were made felt stupider than her team. So again, we're going to follow the trail, guys, because the whole point of this is to show y'all that we can drag somebody without lying.
And the reason that Nara is threatening to sue is because Oniswa has been accusing her of stealing her content. Oniswa let her fans know on her Twitter account, and she posted saying Nara is threatening to sue me, and she added some laughing emojis. Now, as we all know, this feud has been going on for a little bit, maybe a couple months or so. People have just now started to catch.
Jasmine, it's okay. This is growing pains. This is you being part of the family and learning how to do this. We love you for sticking around.
But Oniswa made claims that Nara was stealing and copying her content. And what was the icing on the cake was the boba situation. Oniswa made boba first, and then Nara followed, and that led people to believe that Nara was actually copying Oniswa. She stated, I mentioned that I've never been the first to do anything. I come from a remote village with no tapioca flour. I had to blend sushi rice to flour to make the boba.
She comes from a remote village with no tapioca flour and had to make it from herself from scratch. She also will go to her garden and pick fresh vegetables to make her meals. When I tell you Nara stole
and I didn't steal that from anyone. Nara has a pattern of creating things immediately after I've done. Cream cheese, mozzarella, boba, and those are just big ones. There are many minor coincidences. My reputation will take a hit, but I do not care. My livelihood is not dependent on content money because I don't make any. Me and mine will be fine, and she is a thief, cut and dry. In response to that, Nara then sent Oniswa an email, and in the email...
Okay, so this is the part. I believed the email until I read it. I don't believe somebody worth $7 million doesn't have spell check. If I'm going to the bitch that I've been stealing from, think about that. I've been stealing for you for a very long time. You are my cash cow. And now I'm going to show my hand by acknowledging I know that you know that I'm stealing from you. When me just ignoring you would be a plausible deniability. Not only am I going to show my hand unnecessarily by emailing you, I'm not even going to spell check it. Y'all, critical thinking, guys. Critical thinking.
No, she said, I hope this email finds you well. I'm writing to address a serious matter regarding your recent statements accusing me of stealing your content.
Well, hold on on that. Hold on. Now, hold on.
If y'all don't like Nara Smith, fine. But I need y'all to be fucking for real because there is no way in hell that she sent Oniswa this email. And you know how I know? Because there's a typo right in the middle of it. The videos in question are not my original creations, and I have all the necessary proof of this on the social media platform TikTok. So Nara Smith can spend hours making Cocoa Puffs from scratch, but she couldn't spend 20 seconds to proofread this email? Y'all
She didn't write the email, guys. I checked it. She never sent the email.
really think that a woman that could afford to wear Chanel straight off the runway doesn't have an entire legal team to send cease and desist on her behalf? This is not a cease and desist or a credible threat to pursue.
Please don't compare Cheyenne to Nara Smith. That's actually my point. A Cheyenne would write the email. A Nara wouldn't. We're not talking about Bluecentric. We're talking about Beyonce. Okay? Y'all are giving Bluecentric excuses. I'm talking about Beyonce and Kelly and them. My level, I'm nowhere near an hour and I wouldn't get caught up like this. Y'all need to understand it's rarefied air up there. Y'all are thinking about regular bitch shit for non-regular bitches. I'm sorry, no.
Legal action. This is what we call confirmation bias. Because some of y'all are willing to accept this email, which was clearly written by a troll, and not Nara Smith, nor under the advisement of an actual lawyer, as proof of whatever you already believed about her before this whole situation unfolded. And as someone that has had their content ripped off in the past, I know how frustrating it is and I know how much it sucks. But, there is a but, Creating recipes from scratch and speaking in a low, monotone voice is not exactly original. Now, does colorism and pretty privilege play a role in this former model's social media success? Absolutely. Have some of the criticisms levied at Oneswa been seeped in colorism, respectability politics, xenophobia, and anti-blackness? Absolutely. Is it unfair that Oneswa is not able to participate in the Creator Fund on TikTok because of where she lives? Absolutely. And none of that is Nara Smith's fault. At the end of the day, there is room for both of these beautiful, hardworking, and talented women to succeed. And as always, social media success does not mean that someone is better than anyone, more talented, or more deserving of the spotlight.
You guys, it's so funny you're talking about Bluecentric catching a stray. Bluecentric is the reason y'all don't know how to spell my name. It makes me filled with the rage of 1,000 suns when somebody writes something and blue is spelled BLU. Does the E owe y'all money? Who told y'all to misspell blue? I've never in my life spelled my name without the E. Blue like the crayon. Blue like the primary color. People will see my name spelled with an E and take it upon themselves to drop the E. I blame Bluecentric, so I don't mind her catching a stray.
And now, back to our regularly scheduled program.
The reason for me taking a break on...
Now, Oneswa, there's 2 clips of Oneswa, right? I have the first half where she's talking and explaining her case, because I wanted Oneswa to speak for herself. This beautiful South African woman who has been so dishonored by Nara, right? Because I want to show you Nara's direct people that she has caused harm to and people that she has on the social zeitgeist caused harm to, right? Because the victims are rampant. I intentionally, for the second half, had to speed up her voice because she speaks very slow. Oneswa speaks very slowly. And because she speaks very slowly and I have ADHD, I said, baby, I'm not going to make it. However, this is my bathroom break. So the first half is going to be Oneswa speaking very slowly in her real voice. So I have time to pee, wash my hands, and come back. In the middle of her speaking, I inserted the boba video that Nara stole from her that went viral, where people were like, oh shit, she didn't just steal this video. Every frame is the same. In the second half of the video, where Oneswa keeps talking though, I sped it up just a little bit because... But part of me intentionally keeping her voice slow wasn't just because I have to go to the bathroom, and I know I was going to have to go to the bathroom around this time. Shout out to my meds. It's also because I want you to see even Nara's trademark. First, I took the tapioca, and then even Nara's signature voice that has made her $6 million was stolen from Oneswa. Even the bitch's voice is stolen. Imagine, in the words of our good sis Dominique Morgan, she even stole the lady's vocal cadence. Is nothing sacred. Not Blue Yvonne, don't you dare. Don't get put out the class, child. April, it's too soon, April. Okay? All right, so let's listen to Oneswa in her very soft, slow voice that has now made millions for someone who's not her. Explain why she's so hurt, why I go tinkle.
My platform is that for months now, I have watched a very, very popular content creator use my ideas. And again, I'm not the first person to do anything. They have continuously used my ideas to get views. Now, that would be fine, except in South Africa, we don't get paid for views. And where she is, they get paid for views. So she has been making money off stealing my content. Who has managed to change the videos just enough so that I cannot say that they are my ideas. And when I took a break from content creation recently, she then went and moved on to my YouTube and started using ideas from my YouTube. So I have kept quiet for months at a time, just venting to my boyfriend and to my friends, and they've all told me, just let it go because you are going to be dragged by her mob of followers and you will get cancelled. And so I've kept quiet. And recently, I made a boba tea. We all saw it. We all loved it. And I was so very, 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 very proud of that video. I tweeted about it. I was so excited for it. And then a day later, she made a boba video.
15 minutes while I combine some brown sugar and water, let that heat up before adding in some tapioca, starch, and black food coloring that thickens up before adding the rest to my 1-2 just so it's easier to handle, and rolled it out before cutting it in and rolling those into balls. Once my dough was rolled out into balls, I transferred them over to boiling water and let them steeping my rooibos tea. I heated up some brown sugar. Once they were all coated in the brown sugar, I poured them into my glass dice, and my rooibos tea bought was so much better than store-bought boba.
And you might say it may be a coincidence. That would be fine if it was a coincidence, except it's a coincidence that happens very often. So is it really a coincidence? I am very disheartened. I am very disheartened because she's making thousands of dollars in views, and I am lucky to get a brand collaboration every 3 months. I can count the number of brands I've collaborated with over the last 5 years and probably two hands. It's literally under 10. And I'm so disheartened and I'm so heartbroken, and I feel like it's not worth it for me anymore. Yes, it has never been about the money. It has never been about the money for me, and I have genuinely enjoyed making content. But imagine if you made something for free and somebody took it and they made thousands of dollars out of it. How would you feel?
You know how I would feel because I did a whole live about Icky stealing my content. Isn't this fucked? You guys, you see how fucked up this is? This is not just us hating on a girl dressed like a 1950s pinup. This is not just that. What Nara Smith is doing is diabolical.
So yeah, and probably the most hurtful thing was when I made that video from that burner account was people belittling me and undermining my skills, saying that I cook like their grandmothers and there's nothing new that I make. And I loved my grandmother's cooking, and I understand that my content can be very nostalgic, which is what a lot of us love. I love it too. But to undermine the skill that I put in, or the skills that I have, was very hurtful, and all because they wanted to dismiss and invalidate my feelings. So
sorry, y'all. I went to the bathroom, washed my hands, and then somehow found some chicken wings. So yeah, it's about to be a mukbang. I'm hungry.
And also being likened to somebody who has continuously stolen my ideas is also very heartbreaking. You see the comments in my videos about how I'm South Africa's Nara Smith. How am I a version of her when she is stealing my content?
They started calling her South Africa's Nara Smith. If somebody called me America's Blue Chalusma, I would burn this whole shit down. I beg your finest fucking pardon. Whew.
Views will differ on what is stolen content and what is not, and I'm okay with that. Like I said, if this is where my content journey ends, then it's fine, because quite honestly, I'm very heartbroken. I'm very heartbroken. I'm so heartbroken. I loved making these videos. I really did.
Nara, you fucking, let me stop. Allegedly, let me not get in trouble. Allegedly, child.
And if this is where it ends, then it's fine for me. It's absolutely fine. And yeah, I hope to stay on this platform in your stories and make you guys laugh and cook with you.
So people are saying that Nara Smith is back to her old tricks, fucking with Onezwa, baby. I think I got it right this time. And this beautiful creator, Bliss, caught the shit in motion. Let's watch.
Hi, I'm Onezwa, and I make meals using instead. I cut up my steak.
Yo, look at this.
Damn that shit.
Frame for frame.
I make it different, huh?
Same voice. Where's Bliss? Victoria Monet was getting paid by Ariana Grande, so she was leasing it more than stealing it. If Oneswa was getting paid by Nara, I think I would feel better about this. Victoria was a part of Ariana's team. That's why we were all like, oh my God, this whole entire time I thought that was Ariana's voice. She's just talking about Victoria Monet. But at least she was on the payroll. Oneswa's not on the payroll. She's someone in South Africa fight for her life.
Thank you so much for this shit. This is a hot mess.
Frame for frame.
I'm sorry, they look like fucking identical twins to me, except for Oneswa is handpicking all of her vegetables from her own fucking garden. And the comments did not disappoint. In both comment sections, it was like, Oneswa, my girl, you won't believe it happened again. Everybody on Nara's side is like, she trying to press Oneswa so hard. We know Nara Smith does not do recipes. She doesn't have recipes. She has a team. She has a team that creates everything for her.
Oneswa shouldn't post for 2 weeks to see what Nara comes up with. Didn't this happen, if I cannot recall, and conveniently during this time when Oneswa took some time off after making the accusation, Nara magically didn't post anything except DIY sunscreen that people were saying could potentially send you to the hospital. And when she returned from that break, the moment she returned from that break and made a Asian-centered dish, Nara conveniently made the same similar dish.
I really hate when a motherfucker be like, it's not that deep to me.
A lot of you come saying, Blue, it's not that deep. If you gotten this far and you still don't think it's that deep, y'all ready for the next level of fuckery? Would y'all like to see Nara's impact, present tense? Sorry, I forgot when I eat chicken. Now I got to worry about having chicken in my teeth in the damn live. Let's see in real time what Nara's influence is at 24 years old. Let's see what her legacy is to her children.
Yeah. I bet. It's not that hard to even guess why it's not that deep to you. I don't think many things are. So thank you for sharing in the middle of commentary around something really important that impacts people in our society. But yeah, I'm not shocked that it's not deep to you, babes.
We are going to be raising our daughters to be homemakers and not career women.
These are actual videos, guys. This is not satire. We are about to watch actual videos of young girls, 18, 19, 20 years old, who saw Nara Smith holding a picture of a newborn baby in a field at 18, saying, I decided to become a mother at 18. It's the best decision of my life. We're watching actual 19-year-old girls with no jobs and no education selling themselves off as trad wives because they have been indoctrinated.
Being a homemaker will be option A for our daughters.
Why are we telling women, even starting out as young girls, that they need to have a life of independence? I think that that is a very toxic way to bring up a girl.
One of the worst decisions that you can make as a young woman is going to college. The adults in your life who are telling you
One of the worst decisions you can make as a young woman is to go to college. Do y'all see? Do y'all see why the right wing people would want us to start telling girls that? They're telling young girls to be trad wives like Nara Smith and don't go to college.
need to go to college probably haven't been in the last 20 years, right?
My morning as a 19-year-old what? My morning as a 19-year-old what?
This looks like this is a 19-year-old child bride. This is Nara Smith's indirect impact. For those who say it's not that fucking deep. And all she's doing is making sourdough and pies. Why are we hating?
I'm 19 years old, married, no degree, no 9 to 5, and I'm exactly where I want to be. Also, yes, me and my husband do have an age gap. He is 10 years older than me.
I got married at 18, and this is the life everyone warned me about. Keeping my options open, no chasing 100 different versions of myself.
We live in a day and age where traditional homemaking has been forgotten about and even looked down on. Where women are fighting to be in the same positions as men, indoctrinated to focus more on their careers and less on the home. Our husbands are to be the breadwinners as we are to be the bread makers.
What is this epidemic of 19-year-old trad wife content creators.
We are so deep in a media literacy problem that people don't even really understand what media literacy means. Like, so many of you brought up media literacy this summer when Sincere from Love Island said epitome instead of epitome, right? And you're like, that's evidence of a media literacy crisis. It's like, no, it's not, because he used the word correctly. Like, him mispronouncing the word is actually, in fact, not evidence of a media literacy problem, because the fact that he used the word correctly is evidence that he does, in fact, know the word and used it in the correct context. Media literacy is about comprehension, contextualization, and it's also about understanding the unsaid, about being able to read between the lines. When we are discussing a media literacy problem in America, what we are talking about is people not being able to correctly infer. If something is not spelled out for you black and white, then it does not exist. That is why
a lack of media literacy is you not understanding that women are dressed like when America was great while their husbands are wearing red hats that say Make America Great. Not being clear that the imagery is going with the slogan and that you're being spoon-fed it and that you're not being subversive by saying that you want to flip the girl boss on its head.
books are getting dumber and dumber. That is why movies and television shows suck, because everything needs to be spelt out for the reader or the viewer, or if not, it does not exist. You do not know how to infer. Literacy is a key component to being able to correctly decipher propaganda, and is one of the main reasons why books get banned and why reading comprehension and media literacy in general are kind of frowned upon when you are leaning into fascism, right? Because when you have media literacy and you possess this tool, it makes it very easy for you to spot propaganda. A joke that's been told since, I want to say going back to Ronald Reagan, is that propaganda in America is so good that Americans believe that we have no propaganda.
Propaganda in America is so good that Americans believe we don't even have propaganda.
Because good propaganda should be subtle. Good propaganda should be so quietly done that it can be very easily denied. What America does is that it first introduces an idea through media, through television, through film, usually through fiction, right? And it gets you used to this idea. You see it in media and TV, and you start to think, because media and TV reflect real life, that because you're seeing it in TV and in movies, that must be what it's like in real life. And because life imitates art, you start to see it in real life. After you see it in real life, then media starts to create this kind of subtle rule that this is the norm. Yep. When something has been established as the norm, that is when the law gets involved.
By the way, I wrote an article for CNN back when the Oscar So White debacle happened, and Will and Jada were protesting the Oscars. Shout out to Jada. She sent me a really lovely tweet thanking me for some of the articles I wrote about her back in the day. And what was interesting is when I wrote the Oscar So White article, before I ended up going on CNN to talk about it even more, I mentioned how if you look back, because I'm a film junkie. If you look back to movies like Philadelphia, right? Back in the 80s, they used to call AIDS gay cancer, inappropriate. I remember somebody in our ecosystem when I was a very little girl had passed away, and I said, what did they pass away of? And they said, he died of that gay cancer, right? Back when they were calling AIDS gay cancer, and thought that it was a smite from the Lord on the gay community. A movie like Philadelphia comes out in the 90s. And Tom Hanks, which is one of my favorite actors, probably because Forrest Gump is the fictional character I relate to the most outside of Jessica Fletcher from Murder, She Wrote and Felicia Rashad from the Cosby Show. If Forrest Gump, Claire Huxtable, and Jessica Fletcher from Murder, She Wrote had a baby, it would be me, and they'd be watching Oprah on TV. And so I remember watching Philadelphia because I love Tom Hanks. And I was a kid, and I watched it again when I got older. He humanized AIDS. Tom Hanks made a movie that humanized a disease that they used to call gay cancer. After that movie came out and it was time to vote, suddenly people started voting differently because it was harder to see AIDS as just gay cancer. And then shows like Will and Grace came out and different things came out. And slowly but surely, now in 2026, you're seen as a horrible human being if you discriminate on somebody for having HIV. Art affects our ideologies. Our ideologies affects how we vote. How we vote affects the laws. It is all connected. That was the article that got me a gig on CNN. I need you to understand, I wrote that article about 10 years ago. Nothing's changed. Instead of it being movies, it's now TikTok and the algorithm in your feed. We're watching soft life be flattened. Mind you, I live a soft life, but not the flattened version. We're watching traditional values be flattened into one-dimensional talking points meant to tell us, aren't you tired? Yeah, we're tired. Y'all made us tired. Well, I know we made you tired, but don't you want to go back to when you were just baking pies? Don't you want to lay down and let your man take over? Girl boss, aren't you sleepy? Take a nap. You take something like sleep and rest being revolutionary, which it is, and you fold it into the batter with traditional ideology, and you siphon out all the rights, all the progressive rights that we fought for, and next thing you know, we've all become sheep in aprons. It's the same thing that happened with Philadelphia, but backwards.
Make something legal / illegal because they know that they won't get any backlash because it's already been established as a societal norm. It's already been established as an unspoken rule, and now we all have to do is just add the federal government to it. But the government has been involved since step number 1. This good propaganda is not about telling you what to do directly. It is about creating a society where what they want you to do is the normal. It is the standard, and then you shame anyone else who does things outside of it. Good propaganda does not tell you what to do. It creates a world in where you believe that what they want you to do is your original idea, that you came to that conclusion all on your own. Capitalism sucks. The economy is in the garbage. Women are still being paid less than men while expected to do more work in the work and also at home with their children. And the solution to that is that you will just marry rich and then you will spend your husband's money and then your husband will take care of you. That is a brand new idea that you came up with because you're tired of capitalism and not just what patriarchy has been since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
I hate working so much, so instead I want us to be a stay-at-home mom and bake for my children for a very rich and wealthy man who will just take care of us. Wow, I can't believe you just invented that. And it has not been that you've been consuming, 5-6 years worth of content of women being like, stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home mom. Oh, I love my husband. I love my kids. I just get to bake for them all day. It's so easy. No stressing at a job. No boss yelling at me. No emails. You think that's accidental that you've been consuming that kind of content on a loop for 5 or 6 years now, and now you've reached a solution that, you know what, having a career is not for you because you're just a girl. What's happening is that now that we've reached a level where the problem
Guys, I'm just a girl. Girl math, girl dinner. Guys, it's hiding in plain sight. What is girl math? Girl math is math that is not logical and doesn't make sense, but makes women feel good because we're emotional creatures who don't like logic. Think about the term girl math. Girl math is women who are not financially responsible and do things emotionally and then say, but I'm just a girl. You've been indoctrinated this entire fucking time. What is girl dinner? Girl dinner is a meal that barely gives you sustenance, but allows you to melt on the couch because you're too tired to think. That's for the boys. They've convinced you to think it's cute to not be able to count or feed yourself.
propaganda is no longer subtle, right? Where we have 19-year-old girls coming on the internet telling girls quit school because being a wife and a stay-at-home mom is so much better. I'm 19 years old, right? And that is obviously alarming. That's alarming to even the worst denier. Is like, hey, that's actually kind of insane. So now that we've gotten to the point where the propaganda is no longer, the plausible deniability in the propaganda is gone. Now we have all of the big factors that played a part into put.
By the way, for those of you who are gasping in the comments saying, oh my God, I fell for this shit. That's the whole point of you coming to these lives. There's no shame in not knowing. The only shame is in finding out and doing nothing about it. There's no shame in not knowing what you didn't know you didn't know.
Pushing this movement, who did it correctly, who did it in a way that was subtle, are now backtracking, are now being like, well, I never said that. Well, I never did that. Because now that we have entered the era where we are start to see all of the negative consequences of this very dangerous rhetoric.
Being too tired to cook is very different than somebody making millions of reels about how you can't be have sustenance on your plate. My version of girl dinner is a good fatty protein, some carbs, some fiber, and some really nice omegas, and maybe a little bit of a fruit for some healthy sugars. My version would be a girl dinner would actually be a balanced plate because I know how to feed myself and make myself healthy, right? But the girl dinner that they show, even when you go to Popeyes, girl dinner is just two starchy sides and a biscuit. There's a thing called girl dinner at Popeyes. A guy made a video. He said, hey, I heard there's a secret menu at Popeyes called girl dinner. It's just 2 biscuits, a mashed potato, and some rice. I'm just a girl. Forgot about protein. They keep trying to convince you that being irresponsible and unintelligent is feminine.
That's been put out there, right? The big machines that profited the most from spreading this kind of propaganda because they did it correctly now have plausible deniability. Now can be like, well, I never said that. I never told you to go do that.
Go through it point by point. I don't prioritize being a homemaker. I'm a working mom. Like, I am out in LA. I travel a lot. Primary caregiver for my kids? No. My husband and I split it 50-50.
Nara Smith goes on the Call Her Daddy podcast, a podcast that I like to call a place where media literacy goes to die, right? And she finally decides to address the rumors that she is a trad wife and she spreads trad wife propaganda. Yep. And she's essentially being like, I don't know where people got that from. That's not me at all. Before we get into the words that are coming out of her mouth, I'd like to discuss some kind of nonverbal things that are happening here that are subtle indicators to audiences that are giving.
By the way, I usually say at the beginning of the lives, I didn't today because, I'm exhausted from my cramps and stuff. Ooh, girl cramps. But I often say when you're watching these lives, it doesn't hurt to have a notebook because this show, Bluecentric Live, is just a rebranding of my old show, Free Game, that I had on Instagram. For 6 years on Instagram, I would do these lives where I would give free game for hours as a way to prep people for taking my class. And I have an announcement to make. I'm not going to say any names because y'all be calling me a name dropper and shit, but a couple people that y'all love. Several people that y'all love who are celebrated figures hit me up recently and said, girl, I was going to wear a disguise and take your class. Shout out to all 3 of you sent me messages. Shout out to all 3 of you. 3 people in the industry who I adore have sent me messages. One said, I'm going to go sign up for your class, bitch. And it was sold out. 2 others said, girl, I was going to wear a disguise and the wig and pretend I was somebody else to take your class. And it sold out. I got messages all weekend that my class had sold out without me realizing it. So I crunched some numbers and figured it out. We added 5 more. I know I'm announcing it right now in the middle of the damn live because I feel like if you've lasted 2 hours, you deserve to know. We've added 5 more slots for the Wednesday class and 5 more slots for the Thursday class. I will not be adding any more slots. Now, why did I do that? Because after this workshop that we're teaching in September 2nd and 3rd, I won't be doing it again until the end of the end of January 2027. It's going to be many months since I'm back to teaching because my business is requiring more of me. So if you want to take the class before we are deep in the ball sack of, New Year who this is your last chance. And the URL is fall26.eventbrite.com. It's an 8-week workshop. We meet for 2.5 hours on Wednesdays or Thursdays. International people are welcome. In fact, the Thursday class is a little bit earlier for our international folks. Shout out to the people in Europe, particularly people in the UK who show me so much love. If you take the class, it's 2.5 hours every week. In the first class, everybody's nervous. Everybody's so nervous. Why are we here? We trust Blue, but we don't know why we're here. By the 3rd or 4th class, you feel like you're family. By the 6th class, people are depressed. It's almost over. By the 8th class, people are crying and sharing emails and asking what the Discord link is. So I just need you to know, whatever community you see on YouTube has nothing on the community that I built quietly when I do these workshops. And so On Thy Shift is the workshop. It is the core of the work that we do here. This is the appetizer. It's the main course, right? So this is the appetizer. It's the main course. And the members only area for the YouTube is the cocktail hour, where I might cam down and come back in a puff of smoke, smiling real hard with slanty eyes and kikiing about shit that I'm not going to say to Gen Pop. So just know, if you want to take the class, I've created one last opportunity to my A-list friends who've hit me up like, bitch, we'll talk, friend. Okay, we'll talk. And also, I need y'all to know, when we do the live on Saturday with BK about Married at First Sight, I'm going to use it as an opportunity to have a conversation about marriage in general. Because, teachable moments, right? All right, now back to Nara Smith and this expose on this lady and how she's part of the fucking decline of society. And I bought you some time to get pen and paper to take notes.
Sending out a very specific kind of message, right? This is, again, media literacy. It's about reading in between the lines. Number 1, look at the way that she's dressed. She's wearing jeans and a long sleeve t-shirt. Yep. When have we ever seen her dress like this? Is this how she normally dresses?
Y'all don't share too much. I do be lit in the members only. Okay, I'm an educator in Gen Pop, but members only, child. Sorry, let me relax.
I have her blocked, but I went on Google really fast. Let's go through some of her outfits in her other video. Are you seeing a difference? Is there a clear stylistic choice happening here? Look at it. Stare at it. Look. Look. Add up all the outfits I just showed you. Does this outfit make sense in the row of outfits I just showed you?
She showed up to call her daddy dressed slightly unhoused or looking like she works in IT, and not slightly unhoused by any standards other than the Nara standard, right? Nara Smith's assistant can't even dress like this in real life. Yet she showed up dressed like this to tell y'all that water's not wet. Even the outfit's a lie.
Someone whose usual sense of style is extremely feminine, right, is very dainty. We are talking about very light layers. Hardly ever, I don't think I've seen a single video where she's wearing pants. She's almost always wearing either a dress or a skirt. Is suddenly a girl who dresses like Kristen Stewart. This outfit is a clear and obvious diversion from her usual sense of style as a way to create a divide from herself and the messaging that she's put out in the world. She thought there was nothing wrong with what she...
Did y'all see that picture again? She's in a polka dot dress from the 50s while prepping bottles for her babies. She's in ball gowns while holding a baby. That is every old school rich white man's dream. And their broke friends as well, right? So just be clear, the propaganda can be sexy, y'all. In fact, propaganda at its best is sexy.
She would show up to this work event dressed the way that she always dresses. Number two is her voice. The fact that her voice clearly sounds different here than it does in all of her videos. She's not doing that soft-spoken whisper.
She's not cosplaying as Oneswa anymore. She's talking her regular voice.
Thing that she does in all her videos. All of a sudden, she's speaking with her chest. All of a sudden, she's speaking with some authority. All of a sudden, she can clear her throat and she can speak loudly. It's like the whispering was part of the entire appeal of this, right? The whispering and being soft-spoken was part of the nonverbal messaging that was being sent out here. The accusations of her being and spreading trad wife culture has been minimum 5 years now, and she's had 5 years to clear it up as one of the biggest creators on TikTok, right? And she stayed quiet for all 5 of those years and is suddenly now outraged and has had enough of it and wants to suddenly speak out against it, right? Now that we have all of these blatant and obvious trad wife influencers being like, I'm 19 and I have kids and I love my husband, and everyone...
You see how I included those I'm 19 and I have kids videos first, because I knew had I not included it, you would have thought this young lady was being hyperbolic and exaggerating for dramatic effect. We have now seen, 10 or 12 examples that I just showed y'all. This is really happening.
Everyone's like, hey, you can't do that. Suddenly she wants to create a divide between her and those creators so that she doesn't have to deal with that backlash. And now she can speak up and say, I've never said that. I've never done that. The need to emphasize that she is a working mom when people like me have been making the argument that she's been a full-time worker the entire time, right? No, she never said, I take care of my kids 24/7 and I do this stuff and it's easy.
This image of her cooking while holding a newborn is so... It's beautiful and also probably one of the most dangerous images because of its beauty. There's such a pull for very nurturing women to see this and be like, oh my God, I see a swirly looking woman. I think she's Black. She might just be light skinned. She's holding a big healthy baby. Oh, that wooden bowl looks high quality. Oh, that cutting board looks great. Oh wait, you got that cutting board from Ballerina Farm. Guys, the cutting board is from Ballerina Farms because Ballerina Farms sells merch to go with the propaganda. I see a beautiful young Black lady holding a healthy baby in a high glossy bowl and a nice cutting board. Oh my God, what a cute little dress. It reminds me of what my grandma used to dress us in. Something in my brain wants to love this. Propaganda at its best takes everything that is nostalgic and eradicates all the consequences of what happened when those things were current. It glamorizes a past that you'd be scared to return to if given the option. Yes, I'm available for one-on-ones when the site opens back up. Keep your eyes posted. We are in the home stretch. We are opening it back up this month, guys. The month of August is when we're coming back. We're coming back in the month of August. I was telling my team it's funny that our website's going to be a Leo. We're coming back this month, don't worry.
She did sell you the idea through imaging that that's what she did, that she took care of her kids while also baking peanut butter and jelly bread from scratch, and it was a piece of work. It was easy for her. Look at how she had time to do her full face of makeup. She had time to put on a beautiful dress. She had time to do her hair. She had time to have a spotless kitchen, all while holding a baby. Does not have to say stuff out of her mouth to visually imply it. Choice to lie by omission because...
Oh, about to talk about her kids in a second. That's the elephant. Y'all don't know I don't like talking about people's kids, but we have to. I'm gonna be respectful. Don't worry. I'm never disrespectful to people's kids and their mamas. Well, I told y'all, a couple of you, that your mamas. I had talked about y'all's mamas. Let me take that back. But I want to talk about y'all's kids though. But we're gonna have to for this respectfully because it's actually part of the grift.
That's what she often did. That's what her content was full of, right? This idea that she was never honest about the fact that she had a full staff in her house helping her out. She was never honest about the fact that creating content and making this bread from scratch was her full-time job that she was making millions of dollars off of, that she had nannies who would help her, that her entire life was not about waking up and baking bread. She had to send emails. She had to go to meetings. She had to be a businesswoman because that's what she is. The choice to omit all that was to send clear and obvious messaging. She did it so well because this is how good propaganda is done, that she left room for herself to have plausible deniability. So now years later, when the backlash to the kind of propaganda that she spread is coming in, she can sit here in her jeans and her t-shirt and say, I never said that.
I never said that. I love this quote. This is actually one of my favorite quotes. The devil doesn't come to you with a red face and horns. He comes to you disguised as everything you've ever wanted. I had a dream. I had everything I wanted. Shout out to Billie Eilish. As someone whose dreams are coming true while I'm having to make sure that I maintain my integrity, not just as a matter of my profession, but just as a matter of my own personal growth, I'm going to tell you there are so many moments when your dreams are coming true where you're being offered to let go of who you really are to speed up the process. And it takes a lot to pay what I call the integrity tax. The reason why people are like, Blue, you've been doing this for 20 years. Why did I just start hearing about you? Because I was paying the integrity tax. If you see someone who stands on business, who is masterful at what they do, and yet you're wondering why it's taking them a little bit longer, they're paying the tax. And guess what? I have zero regrets. I would pay it every day of the week. I love that it took me 15 plus years into my career to get where I am, rather than doing it in the fast five, because those who did it in the fast five, I'm watching them burn out and try to figure out how to get it back. Well, I'm still on the rise, and it's more sustainable when you do things in a way that allows you to sleep well at night. Nara Smith is only 24. Her frontal lobe, if she is neurotypical, will not fully congeal for her prefrontal cortex won't congeal for like another year or two. And if she has ADHD or is neurodivergent, it won't be till she's 35, right? Because plot twist, neurodivergent people, our brains take a little bit longer because we're neurodivergent, yes? So she's 2 to 12 years away from even being her fully self-actualized self as far as her neurological functioning. And she's making these radical decisions that are going to really, really age poorly, right? Because if we're in the age of Aquarius, which many of us believe we're in, this is not going to look good by the time her daughters turn 16. I had a dream.
Well, I never told people to do that. I don't know what would give you the illusion that I would do that. I would never say that. I've always been working. Women should always work. I've always had a job. We're very progressive in my home.
By the way, one of my dreams is when I retire from the industry is to teach a little class somewhere at a university and wear cute sweaters and be professor to lose some money. That is one of my post-retirement dreams. People are like, Blue, your post-retirement dreams is to keep working. I actually love what I do. I love what I do.
All of a sudden, even though she spent years building an empire off of giving the illusion that that was not her truth. That is how good propaganda works. And the fact that there are people in the comment section defending Nara Smith is proof that we have a media literacy crisis.
And I can't believe Nara Smith don't went on Call Your Daddy podcast and said, and scene.
Okay, I felt like after that last one, we needed a little bit of comedic relief. I love that men are tapping in and calling bullshit. Straight men included, because we often think it's the girls and the gays who are in on the joke. Even straight men are like, nah, bitch, we see you too. We see what you did. Come on now. So let's hear a cis-het man share what he thinks about Nara Smith's grift, because sometimes your homeboys be seeing the shit earlier. Like, I've been knew that she was a charlatan. I was just letting you figure it out.
Gotcha, man. Man, you knew you was cosplaying a trad wife. Stop playing with us. You was the face of it. Running around them little house on the prairie dresses and them Flintstone hairstyles. That Wilma Flintstone hairstyle, and your husband running around in that jukebox ass hairstyle with the slick back eco styler with his hair gelled all the way back.
Not the jukebox.
And you running around with that dead ass voice like your husband made you get a lobotomy back in the 50s. Man, stop playing.
Yeah.
And you making bread from scratch, making gum from scratch, and making them lower quarter 25% black kids drinking that lactose milk. Drinking that milk, that raw milk. Knowing them kids 25% black and they lactose intolerant.
Well, he's not wrong, but sir, wait a minute. Maybe I should have watched this one before I put it. I just know a black man who gets it. Let's watch it together. I did not realize he was going to choose violence. Wait. Okay.
Now let me tell you my problem with you, Miss Nara Smith. You played a part in influencing M-Mass, the biggest rebrand and relaunch of patriarchy I've ever seen in my entire life. In an atmosphere where this administration is trying to push toxic masculinity and red pill manosphere, you played a part in telling these young girls to get married at 19.
He might tell a joke, but he hasn't told a lie yet.
Out in the woods and marry these men and don't have your own assets and let that man take care of you while you in the house making gum and bread from scratch and take care of them kids while you in the crib going 50-50. And
she did have a video of her making gum from scratch. And I said, now, girl, it cost her like $60 worth of supplies to make a couple of sticks of gum. I said, bitch, get off my phone. I almost blocked her that day. The day that I saw Nara Smith making her own gum, I almost blocked her.
The most harmful time in this administration, in this lifetime, in a pivotal time where women are trying to get back out there into the workforce and hundreds of thousands of women are getting fired from the federal government, you played a part in getting this administration in office, and you know it.
Somebody said they wear those milkmaid and prairie dresses at the club now, y'all. Oh, what a time to be alive.
And you know it. You know that the manosphere and the red pill, they love you.
They do love
all these 19-year-old girls going to get them men that's telling them that they shouldn't even have a right to vote and they should get back in the kitchen. You played a part in that, and you need to stop gassing. Oh my God, you be pissed. Y'all pissing me off. Y'all pissing me off. Your German ancestors is so proud of you, baby. Your German ancestors is up there, down there right now going.
He said they're up there, sorry, down there. Your German ancestors are down there proud of you. Yikes. 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 Oh, damn.
Yikes, you motherfucking asshole.
Shout out to the German community. I'm so sorry you caught us straight. That was not German. Wait, he said hi. I'm so sorry. I'm not xenophobic. That was just funny. That was funny. Can we all just admit? Well, that's a progressive black man's views on Nara Smith. He just got to the point. We had the girls and the gays were doing long dissertations. This man said, bitch, if you don't stop lying, look.
Okay, so if by the end of this video, I don't convince you that Nara Smith uses some of the darkest, most psychologically manipulative marketing tactics I've literally ever seen used on social media, I will delete my entire account.
So because he said a challenge and a bitch like me likes the challenge, I intentionally didn't watch it. He's saying that he's going to convince us that Nara Smith is dark-sided. I already think that. Already think she's dark-sided. But he said that he has a hypothesis. And you know I love me a hypothesis. He has a hypothesis about why she's dark-sided. Because we've already been so thorough at this part in our deep dive. When I say a deep dive, I'm into the ocean floor. Yes. And by the way, to me, this is not as deep as it could be. It could be much deeper. I could have done 2 more hours of this, but I was like, I don't want to overwhelm y'all. Yeah. So he's probably going to say some stuff that we've already touched on because we've touched on so much. But I'm wondering if I learned anything new from him. Let's see.
All I ask is that you watch this video until the end with an open mind. Okay. And I have a master's degree in business and a specialization in marketing. So let's get into it. So just in case you are living under a rock, Nara Smith is an extremely famous influencer, mommy blogger, and model who has been sort of propelled to fame due to her highly public and highly controversial marriage to another very famous model named Lucky Bluesmith. This marriage was highly controversial at the time because she was only 18, with him being 24, and she has already had 3 children.
Wait. I missed that part. Oh no, I'm already learning something. Wait. No, he didn't say that. When Nara Smith got married, she was 18 and he was 24 and they already had children? Not the teacher learning something in the middle of class. Now, hold on. Wait, what? There's a name for that. Well, there's a law against that. Wait a minute. Lucky Blue. What? No, I gotta look this up. How old was Nara Smith when she got pregnant? Well, it's a popular search. She got... Okay, it says here... Wait, how many kids does she have? Wait, there's a picture of her pregnant stomach full of dates of birth. And I'm... Okay, no. This is about to get darker than I thought. Nara Smith's date of birth. Y'all, this is about to get darker than I thought. Nara Smith was born September 27, 2001. She's a Libra, so that does explain some of this. No offense to the Libras, but y'all, y'all love, child. All right, let me do a screen share real quick because this is about to scare me. I already know that she's dark-sided, but if he's a groomer, that's a whole different level that I was not prepared for. Oh, bon Dieu. Okay, I'm going to do a screen share. This is crazy. Breaking news. All right, so let's do this screen share real quick. Y'all, this is nuts. This is nuts. All right, Nara Smith, all the ages and years I've been pregnant. At 18, in 2020, when she was 18, she was pregnant, which means that he was sleeping with her before she was 18. Then at 20, in the year 2021, she got pregnant again. When she was still 20 in 2022, she got pregnant a third time. At 22 in 2023, she got pregnant a fourth time. Still at 22, because her birthday's at the end of the year in September, she got pregnant a fourth time. Jesus Christ. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a fifth time. And then she had her sixth pregnancy at 23 last year. No, how many kids? Nara Smith children, number of children. So she's been pregnant 6 times and she has 4 children. Yeah, so she's had 2 miscarriages. Oh, wait a minute. Not only has she been pregnant 6 times and had 4 children for him with 2 miscarriages, she's also a stepmother to a child that he had with somebody else. Lucky, bruh. We might have needed to do a video on you too, sir. Something's wrong. What do you mean you are 24 years old? Wait a minute. No. Lucky, you got a 17-year-old girl pregnant and you already had gotten somebody else pregnant? Okay. This is everything about this. I'm where the dogs at? Hold on. I need the dogs. Usually y'all ask for the dogs. I need the fucking dogs. Hold on. Let's do, for those who are new here, we played the chakra cleansing evil eye removal dogs when shit gets a little too heavy because the bell resignals our brain. Y'all, this is dark. I know she's Mormon. It's still dark. I'm clear about Mormons. It's still icky to me.
He is most notably known for sort of creating this very highly idealistic form of fantasy content surrounding themes of motherhood, married life, and of course cooking, where she's become most...
No, there's no information of having miscarriages, but she herself listed 6 pregnancies. So if there's 6 pregnancies but only 4 babies, we're inferring that means there was 2 miscarriages.
Notably famous for her make it from scratch videos, where she will make the most absurd recipes from scratch that nobody has the time to make, like bubblegum and sunscreen, which is also highly controversial. And she obviously is utilizing rage bait to increase engagement.
Yeah, the sunscreen. Nara, did you really come on Beyonce's internet with your doofy ass trying to teach people how to make homemade sunscreen? Nara, you were having babies before you could even finish science class, and yet you're acting like a scientist and making something that needs science in order to be... I'm gonna stop.
And this style of content is what she is most known for and has sort of become a parody of itself. So the first dark marketing tactic that Nara Smith employs is something that I like to call strategic neutrality. So if you pay attention...
I think Mitson called it out when someone said that Nara Smith is always politically neutral. So I like the fact that he's mentioning strategic neutrality, because I have very strong thoughts around strategic neutrality. So I'm excited that he's about to talk about it.
Nara Smith has exclusively and very intentionally chosen to never respond to or engage in any controversy surrounding herself and her own personal brand. And if you want a more recent example of this, she has recently been accused of attempting to sue another TikToker by the name of Oneswa for allegedly stealing her content. So I personally looked into this.
Okay, now pause. There was some debate. I looked into it, and based on my research, and I can't show you all my research because the video would be 18 hours long. Based on my research, I'm not sure I believe that she actually sued Oneswa. I believe she stole from Oneswa, but I haven't seen enough for me to believe that she sued Oneswa, and somebody with $7 million can hire lawyers who will sue you or send you letters on their behalf. So I have a hard time believing that email is real. Let's see what he thinks. He might teach me something else. Let's see.
Because I was very interested, and the more I looked into it, the more I realized that this was a completely fabricated lie.
Well, sir, I like you. That was a test. I like you, sir. You passed the test. That was the pop quiz. You passed the test. Okay. Now I'm more apt to believe him more because it tells me his critical thinking is resistant to groupthink. Because it's easy to create a lie about someone who already has so much bullshit. The best place to hide a lie is in the middle of a bunch of truth. So to me, she sent me a cease and desist was a lie in the middle of a bunch of truth. And it seems that he's on the same page. I love that.
And I don't believe that Oneswa ever received an email from Nara Smith at all. So you might be thinking, if this wasn't true, why wouldn't Nara Smith come in front of the camera and obviously defend her name? Exactly. And the reason for this is that she has a huge team behind her that want to make her what I like to call an empty billboard. So an empty billboard is somebody who has a personal brand that has mass appeal and is universally relatable and appealing to a wide...
I'm not an empty billboard. That's why, because even though my engagement is abnormally high, I have never been offered a single brand deal on YouTube, which is fine. I'm my own brand. Like, I sell my own products. I don't need to sell products that I don't trust. But he is right, though. Empty billboards get brand deals. The more you have on your billboard, even if your billboard is righteous and it's going to age well and it's historically founded, people are not trying to contact you for brand deals.
Wide audience and a large demographic that is able to accomplish this without alienating any specific group, which is the most appealing thing to marketers and to brands. Nara Smith's content is designed to be universally appealing, which makes it commercially viable. So basically, because she never engages in any controversy, we don't know her political opinions, we aren't really intimately familiar with her beliefs and her values. There are things that she keeps extremely private. She's able to capitalize on these universally relatable themes of motherhood and cooking, which allows brands to basically co-opt her image and her brand for any product that they have, and it seamlessly fits in so perfectly because there's really nothing to contrast it. So you can really think of it as an empty billboard. It's a blank piece of paper, so anything that you put on it will stick and will integrate extremely well. If Nara Smith, for example, were to sit down and respond to a controversy she's been in, or speak about Palestine, for example, this would immediately shatter the fourth wall, ruin the idealistic perfect image and brand she's crafted for herself, because she would no longer be neutral, broadly acceptable, and highly marketable.
I like him too. I'm happy that I put this in, and I'm happy I'm experiencing this with you guys. He's really good. And you see how what he's saying touches on so many of the things that we've already covered, right? Like the strategic neutrality, the plausible deniability, the empty billboard. Like, these are all tactics of people who are saying to advertisers, look, I'm open for business, propaganda machine. Tell me, show me what you got. Show me what you got. Yes, Sydney Sweeney is a perfect example of this, and that's why she ended up overplaying her hand, because her empty billboard started filling up with red. It started filling up with Make America Great a little bit too much. The billboard got full, and it was a little bit too glaring. Sydney Sweeney, the amount of times that I almost did a takedown video of Sydney Sweeney last year, I had to stop myself because I got sick of watching her videos. But I think she's a shitty human, personally. It's a personal opinion.
Which is what she wants to maximize the amount of money she's getting for brand deals, and also the entire ecosystem.
A Blue and Beyonce collab, well, outside of the collab that she has with the Blue that she birthed, I would love that. Yes, manifest that for me, child. Y'all know that I just told my team before I started this live that I want to do a meet and greet in 2027 in London, because y'all know I love London, but I always go to London for Beyonce concerts. And so I was just like, yo, until Beyonce tells me her tour dates or when I have to return to Tottenham, I'm scared to book my London meet and greet. So when Beyonce announces her tour, and the third one happens, and you see some Tottenham dates, assume that a bitch will be having a meet and greet. I'm just saying.
System of management and brand partners and agencies that represent her, because they're also getting a cut of the product that she's selling, which is this perfect form of married life and basically a billboard for brands to implant their own idealistic images of their brands onto. I really feel if you guys were to fully grasp the actual amount of money that is at stake for a brand deal involving someone as famous as Nara Smith, at a very low, modest assumption, we can assume it's around $300,000. And if we analyze how many sponsored posts she's done in the past 12 months, it's been about 13, which does amount to about $4 million USD a year in sponsored posts alone. I'm not saying this to...
People have sold their souls for less, guys. For those who were in the chat asking, how could, even, we don't care if she's half black, but how could a woman who's any black do this to her community while having children? It's because for $4 million a year, some of y'all would sell your mamas. I wouldn't, but people have sold their soul for much less than $4 million a year.
Expose her or to rich shame anybody. God bless anyone making money. I really do not mind. That's not the issue. The issue is the lack of social media literacy when people consume content like hers and understanding the financial incentive behind it. For example, if for every five...
It's not $300K. He said the low end would be $300K. It's not $300K. She's not getting paid $300K per. She's getting paid way more than that. I know folks who are a fraction of how successful she is who get paid that, so it's not that.
Regular Nara Smith videos that she posts, there's one sponsored posts. The only reason that those 5 regular posts exist is to create a platform for her to monetize her account. So when you combine this lack...
waiting for this. Please stop virtue signaling. You guys, Nara's daughter having cancer doesn't mean that we can't critique how she's causing harm to the social zeitgeist. Please, if you're one of those people, this is not the space for you. Weaponizing virtue signaling is not working. It's not going to work here. So if someone did a heinous crime and their baby had cancer, we can't critique them reasonably and objectively. If somebody ran over your mama with a bus, but the kid has cancer, we can't critique them. I knew the virtue signaling was going to happen. We are going to address her child having cancer. I am very sorry that Nara Smith's daughter has cancer. Cancer has taken some of the most important people in my lives, right? Like the person who raised me before my mother came to America passed away of cancer. Easily the most painful experience of my life. Cancer is in my family. It is something I'm very passionate about. Fuck cancer forevermore. And I would never, ever, ever, ever in my life sell my soul in a way that desecrates my community and use cancer as an excuse. So don't piss me off.
Of social media literacy, which really just refers to someone's ability to consume and digest content in a thoughtful, mindful way that is understanding the reality that what they are seeing is fake and has financial incentives behind it. Combining that with this amazing illusion that Nara Smith has crafted for herself, we enter very dangerous territory in what this could be doing and the implications that this could have for younger women. So really, the issue isn't with Nara Smith herself, but with the fact that so many young women consume and perceive her content at face value with no critical understanding that behind every video that we've seen of Nara Smith, there are a team of people. There is a stylist, there is a management, there's an agency, there are nannies that allow her to have this effortless, seamless life. But that's never shown. If that were shown, she wouldn't have a brand. So I'm not criticizing Nara Smith, but there are real world implications with the type of content that we consume. And if you don't think that media creates subliminal messages that in the future results in people making decisions and choices and aspirations for their life, then you need to take a social studies class because it's objectively true. And if you need proof of this, look at how many women, millennial women specifically, have gotten on TikTok and spoken about the fact that they regret having children.
He's spitting with this. He said, when you glorify these images without speaking about what it takes and what is sacrificed to uphold these things, right? Because a 24-year-old girl who is not rich, not wearing ball gowns, and living in the inner city, who's been pregnant 6 times, y'all wouldn't be clapping for her. She wouldn't be getting brand deals. The very lifestyle that Nara is being applauded for is what we use to degrade women all the time. Yes? So he's right. A lot of millennial women have confessed, I had kids because I was sold a dream and nobody told me the reality of having children. And I was ill-equipped, ill-prepared, ill-advised. And now I have these kids that I love, but had I been educated, I would have made different choices.
And while it's extremely easy to just demonize them and say, well, that's an awful thing to say, it takes a critical eye and a thoughtful person to think, but okay, how did they get there? Were they misinformed of the realities and the complexities of having children? And aren't we doing society a disservice by presenting such an idealistic and completely unrealistic idea of what it means to be a mother and what it means to have children for 99% of people, which is what Nara Smith's content is? What could that be doing? Because when you read the comments, there are so many young women that have sort of graduated in an interesting way from the girl boss era of the Legally Blonde, thinking that that's the main aspiration, to now thinking that the main aspiration that they should have in life is to have their Nara Smith life of being more domesticated and being in the home and
giving up their rights and their liberties,
creating a life for themselves that revolves around motherhood exclusively. Before you throw choice feminism at me and say, well, it's her choice to have kids at a young age and to be a mom, of course.
He said, before you throw choice feminism at me, he's saying the same thing I just did, but you doing that nasty cancer thing. Don't virtue signal people out of critical thinking. Don't do it. It is nasty work. When someone is telling the truth and shaming the devil, and you say, but the devil got a grandma who's sick. So do all the victims. So do all the victims.
Of course it's her choice. I'm not taking that away or making my own personal moral judgment on whether or not it was right that Nara Smith got married at 18 to a man she only knew for 6 months and then had a baby 3 months after that.
Oh, wait a minute now. Now he got more tea. He married her immediately and put a baby in her. Okay. Lucky. I know you look like James Dean, but you're starting to look like a piece of shit to me, Lucky. You sound like a bad man. Everything I learned about Lucky Blue against my will makes me want to change my name to Orange. Sir, what in the fuck? Nara, blink twice if you're safe. Just blink twice, babe. This is bad. This is actually worse than I thought.
I'm not saying that. I'm simply trying to bring up the real world consequences of young women aspiring to that life, not being informed of the danger of losing their financial independence to a man who may or may not support them in the future, and rushing to have children because you subconsciously accepted extremely fake, fabricated, fantasy level content as reality. And if you think
stop showing how dead you are on the inside. Just because you watch a lot of Hulu documentaries about the depraved things that Mormons do, it's actually a good thing that depraved things are still shocking to me. I don't want to be so dead in the inside that injustices against young women against their will are considered, it's nothing, it's just regular Mormon shit. I know, and it's still disgusting. It's still horrible. It's still bad. I like that I can still recognize things are bad, even though I watch a lot of documentaries too. Okay.
I'm being dramatic, I invite you to go to Nara Smith's comment section and read how many young women have truly internalized this false presentation, this false idea of reality and motherhood and married life, and have accepted it as real and attainable when it's not attainable for anybody, including Nara Smith. Nara Smith, the human being, does not really live that life. It is a highly engineered form of fiction. And in a perfect world, we would all consume Nara Smith's content and enjoy it the same way.
Tell your friends they need to find White Harriet Tubman from Handmaid's Tale to get them free success. Tell them they need to blink. Everybody needs to blink twice.
We enjoy a movie, understanding that it's fake, but unfortunately, the subconscious mind, even when it's watching a film, doesn't understand the difference between reality and fiction. That's why we feel emotionally connected to characters. That's why we get scared during horror movies, or why we cry during a romantic comedy. But this degree of separation between fiction and reality is even slimmer when we're watching social media content, because
Well, do you hear what he's saying? He's saying, when you're watching a movie, you know it's a movie, so and yet you still jump during horror films. You know it's a movie and you still blush during sexy scenes or during a sweet moment. You know it's a movie and yet you still get angry when injustice is done. That means even when you know it's fake consciously, your subconscious still allows you to go through the motions. So his hypothesis is, if you can watch a movie and know it's fake and still experience all the real emotions of a movie while knowing it's fake, imagine just how more prevalent that programming is when you're watching social media and you're not sure it's fake. Imagine just how more potent the brainwashing is on social media, where there aren't credits that roll at the end of a Nara Smith video. They're not credits that roll at the end of your favorite influencer's vlog. So you don't actually know what's fake or what's real. So unlike a movie where you can feel incredibly stressed during a thriller, incredibly happy during a romance novel, incredibly fucked in the head during a psychological film, you can have those feelings, but it still have a moment of, ooh, pull it back, it's not real. On social media, it's more dangerous because those lines are not as clearly drawn. And the blurriness, right? The blurriness of the line between real and fake on social media actually makes it the perfect tool for propaganda to be pervasive. That's what I got from what he said. I don't know. You know, I take notes different maybe, but that's what I heard. That is brilliant. Blink Twice was one of those movies that I figured out the entire movie in the first 5 minutes and then spent the movie just guessing all the lines because it was predictable as fuck. But yes, it is a good movie for people whose brains don't work like that. Bridget was like, oh my God, you should come see it. It's going to be amazing. It's going to fuck you up within like 5 minutes. I was like, I know exactly what's happening because of that one line that was heavy-handed, and then spent the entire movie just texting myself the outcomes, and they all happened. So despite the fact that the writing was a little bit lazy, yeah, it was visually stunning though. Very visually stunning. But it's one of those movies where I get why people like it. I just think my brain just wouldn't let me. It was too heavy-handed in the writing. But it was beautiful though. It was a beautiful movie to watch visually.
There are elements of reality. She is married to this man. Nara Smith is her name, and she does pepper in aspects of her life that are real, which tells the conscious and the subconscious mind that what we are viewing is attainable when it is just not. And if you were to visually see the actual team of people behind the curation of Nara Smith's content, you would understand how every minute detail, from the plates that she uses, to the clothes that she's wearing, to the voice that she uses that changed as her content progressed, you would understand that Nara Smith isn't really a person. She's a brand, and she's selling you something, whether it is a product or whether it is a lifestyle. What this is a consumable item, and it should be treated and understood as such. And this is why
it should be treated and understood as such. As women over 25, over 30, over 35, we, and men, because there's men in here, shout out to our brothers in here too. We might be savvy enough, but for an 18-year-old, all of us would have fallen for this at 18. Are you kidding me? All of us would have fallen for this at 18. Most of us have fallen for iterations of this when we were 18. If anybody wants to know what the sentence is in Blink Twice that ruined the entire movie for me, I'll let you know. It's a simple sentence. It happens within the first 5 minutes, but it's one of those sentences where the writer did not trust the audience and share too much. And I was like, now hold on now. But yeah, it was pattern recognition though.
Social media literacy should be something that is taught to young children, mandatory in schools. And just to prove to you how generic and predictable Nara Smith's brand really is, she will be coming out with a cookbook called From Scratch by Nara Smith, filled with infeasible recipes that nobody will ever be able to do.
Yikes! My God is my producer, because the fact that I knew that this was a long video and I didn't know what was going to happen. So I thought the palette cleanser, because, you know, whenever I have a bunch of heavier videos, I try to throw in something light to like break it up. The commercial for her book is the very next video. How fucking brilliant is the timing of this? My God, don't play about me. He said her cookbook is full of infeasible recipes that nobody's going to actually be able to cook. But, you know, she looked nice. He's low-key dragging this lady, for those of you who are not keeping up.
And it will just be a visual coffee table book.
You guys have been craving this, so I finally decided to make it from scratch. And this is a collection of recipes that I grew up eating in Germany. Things I've cooked for Lucky that he's been begging me to write down.
I don't think Lucky was begging you to write down cold broccolini with some tomato puree on top, but go off, sis.
And of course, I've seen you guys' comments and messages about recipes that you've been really wanting.
Now that was a quick visual of the ad. I didn't want to play the entire ad because I was sick of her voice. So let's look at this comment that I knew, because I knew one of you was going to come in here and piss me off saying this. I knew it. I knew somebody was going to come in here and virtue signal. For those who don't know, virtue signaling is what happens when you use virtues like being a good person, being nice, being kind, things that are usually good, as a way to silence critical thinkers. I don't want to be inconvenienced by your reasonable, important critique. I don't want to be inconvenienced by an ugly truth that I don't want to stare at. So I'm going to throw, "You're not a nice person," at you to shut you up in the middle of you inconveniencing me with educated thought. So I knew there was going to be at least one person who's going to tell me to shut the fuck up because her kid has cancer and therefore none of her sins matter. Jasmine's Garden wrote a couple of days ago, "I'm going to say something that's seemingly insensitive but almost 100% accurate. Nara Smith telling y'all that her child has cancer after, mind you, she told y'all after her child was in remission, right? But Nara Smith telling y'all her child had cancer made it easier for people to soften up to her before she launched her rebrand. Look at the timing. Your daughter has cancer. You decide to keep it private. Your daughter's in remission. Hallelujah. Thank God. Right? Your daughter has cancer. She's in remission. You keep it private. And yet, right before you're about to do a fucked up rebrand that erases your sins and your culpability in the demise of women across this country, you throw out, "Oh, by the way, my daughter had cancer a while back. We forgot to tell you. Here's some really sad pictures." You throw out she has cancer before you lie to our faces. And anybody who says anything about you that you fucking deserve is now an asshole because your daughter had cancer and is in remission. There's a lot of things wrong with what I just spelled out, and it's not me. I'm not what's wrong in that scenario. Respectfully. I feel disgusted by this. As someone whose family has been ravaged and almost destroyed by cancer, I find this offensive. Nasty word.
Influencer Nara Smith has some good news on her daughter's cancer battle. She says her daughter is in remission. Nara shared the positive health update in a social media post, thanking everyone for their support and explaining she wanted to share the news about 2-year-old Whimsy Lou sooner, but she had to be cautious.
I wanted to wait until she was done with treatment and us knowing what the outcome of her situation would be before sharing it. Now that she's finally in remission, it felt like I could find the words to share.
As we reported, Nara shared the cancer diagnosis earlier this month in an emotional video on social media, saying she and her husband, Lucky Blue Smith, rushed their toddler to the emergency room after noticing something concerning. Nara did not disclose the type of cancer her daughter was diagnosed with, but she thanked all the medical professionals who helped the family along the way with Whimsy's medical treatment. She says the traumatizing experience
Her daughter's name is Whimsy. It's all branding, guys. It's all branding.
Made her realize how stressful and expensive cancer treatments are. She explained she was working on finding charities and foundations to support, but meanwhile, she shared GoFundMe pages for children fighting cancer.
Thank you so much to every single person for your kindness. I'm sending all my love to families that are actively still going through this fight.
That's my reaction to the whole cancer angle. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm not going to say nothing else because there's a child involved. I do have decorum. Because there's a child involved, I'm not going to say anything else, but everything about that part of the story disgusts me.
Evidently, Nara Smith was recently on the Call Her Daddy podcast, and she was reading the description of what a trad wife is, and line by line talking about how she is not one. And she was just like so aghast and aggrieved by the fact that we would have thought that she was a trad wife, because her and her husband do things equally. She wanted us to ignore the being married before 20 and the 4 kids before 25 and the reading the Book of Mormon when she woke up in the morning and him grabbing her by the throat. Like, we were supposed to ignore everything that she built her platform around, because now she wears Schiaparelli, and trad wives don't do that. I am summarizing because I will not listen to the entire podcast, but I've seen clips of it and I've heard people comment on it. And you know what? She's actually not wrong, because trad wiffery at its finest in the way that you all perform it online is a lie.
It is.
Is a lie. Now, what's she doing with that man behind the scenes and them kids? I don't know. Y'all say y'all saw her down at Chick-fil-A. You said she was making the Capri Suns and the things and the homemade and the raw milk, but then y'all had seen her at Chick-fil-A. That's what y'all say. So there are contradictions there to be had. And I think that people who, and we saw this in yesteryear, people who are truly trapped in the gender binary in this way don't have the time to make content about it.
They don't.
And surely you're not leveraging multi-million-dollar businesses and highly lucrative brand deals, because that's a job.
Yep.
You actually do have a job, and you're likely the highest earner in your household because, bitch, you have a job.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the trad wiffery in that? And also you got 11 kids. You likely have a lot of help with those children behind the scenes. Absolutely. To make the videos and the high quality of content that you're making. You likely also have staff.
Incredibly high quality, well-lit, produced videos that are expertly edited on a consistent basis while you're making them from scratch.
Right. So you are a girl boss positioning yourself as a submissive wife. There's a psychosis that's happening, and or you are just playing a role in a character on my iOS device, and now you're pissing me off. Now you're actually pissing me off because it's just for financial gain. Yep. And you have young girls pretending and wanting to be you, and they have real life consequences only for you a few years later to get on a highly popular podcast. And like, I'm in LA right now. I mean,
she's like, I can't be a trad wife. I'm in LA right now. Someone said her children's names are branded, and it's interesting. Her daughters are Rumble Honey, Whimsy Lou, and Fawny Golden, and a son named Slim Easy. Nara is also a stepdaughter. Don't you mean stepmother? To Gravity Blue, which is probably Lucky Blue. I think Lucky Blue is probably the mastermind of some of this, and Nara is still a co-conspirator. I feel like there's going to be a documentary about them at some point when they break up. I think the documentary about Nara and Lucky is going to be a hell of a watch, and we will be covering it if and when the show is still going when that happens. Because, my God.
And you enter your girl boss era. Meanwhile, we all are seeing the rise of these MAGA coded conservative values, this pink pill content just completely eviscerate and come down Black women's timelines, right? This is not just a them issue. This is a societal issue at this point. So when she says that that's not me,
I agree with her.
Yeah, bitch, we know that it wasn't you. And you have caused so much harm.
A lot of
and
harm.
We will be dealing with ramifications of this movement for a generation.
Oh, by the way, honey, we don't need to do a wait 5 to 10 years to do trad wife. There are now videos, and I was thinking about doing a follow-up. There's a lot of videos about trad wives who are now homeless because the nigga left them and they can't read or sign a checkbook. It's already happening. It's been happening for like the last year. A lot of trad wives who started at the beginning of the trad wife movement about 5 years ago are now like unhoused.
I guarantee you, because it's not just a social media performance, it's also the way that policies have been codified that incentivize it in our society.
Nara Smith distancing herself from the trad wife label by bringing up the fact that she is cooking in Schiaparelli is one of those things you have to read in between the lines to catch. She's saying that she is not a trad wife because she is not poor.
Lady not wrong. And yes, we will be doing a lot more. One of the things I want to follow more this year is not just doing reality TV recaps. I know y'all love those, but to also do deep dives into the social norms that are developing and falling apart right before our eyes. So we're going to be talking about influencer culture, the algorithm, propaganda. We're going to talk about propaganda constantly. We're going to be talking about propaganda constantly, okay? Because it hides everywhere. There's a lot of you right now who are trying to figure out what to call your charcuterie plates because you can't call a girl dinner no more, right? So we're going to be covering this constantly. So there will be a part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. But I love that you guys love this content because I was nervous. I was like, I know a lot of people found me doing Jason Lee, doing Jesse Wu, doing Carlos King, even doing my deep dives on Negrio. But like, I was like, I need us to expand outside of just reality television because right now we are the reality TV shows. We are the reality show, and there's no credits.
There is levels to this trad wife game, okay? The girls on the internet who bought into this aesthetic hook, line, and sinker, that is not their experience with trad wifery. Yeah. A lot of them are getting into this lifestyle thinking that they are going to be on a Nara Smith level.
Yeah, my life, when I was looking for this townhouse and I was looking for a luxury home and realized the luxury homes were all made of cardboard. If you haven't seen that live, it's in the Gen Pop area, so you don't have to be a member for this one. We did a live about how luxury homes are a scam. Please watch that one because that one was fun. That one was really fun.
But their husbands, their boyfriends, because apparently there are trad wife girlfriends and they are taking them to the beaches of Florida. And
there's a trad wife, a Black woman who came online and told everybody that we all pussy ass bitches. We all just some broke dummies because we didn't find us a man to be traditional for. And we need to stop worrying about our rights and worried about giving our nigga the big piece of chicken. She went viral for it. So that's whose pictures just flashed. Don't worry. I found the video. We'll be watching her video in a second.
That's something that's very aspirational. But yeah, for the most part, when you get on these E streets and you look at these actual trad wives, these are young women with no education who cannot at this point afford to go out and actually join the workforce because the money that they would be making would basically go to daycare, childcare, etc. Their husband is not making enough money to give them the real trad wife life. So they're struggling. It's not fun. It's not cute. They're not cooking in Schiaparelli. They're not frolicking. Their life is not full of whims.
They're married, and I don't think she signed a prenup because she was 17 minutes old when they got married. So that $7 million is his too.
It's a struggle. A lot of these trad wives, the ones who are making money, the ones who are really like fulfilling that aesthetic, they're not trad wives because they are working women, because content creation is work. And once y'all realize that a lot of these influencers, more specifically the influencers in these niche spaces of trad wife, X, Y, and Z wife, whatever, they are playing characters. This is media literacy 101.
Remember when y'all made fun of me for choosing traditional wife life?
So this girl, we're wrapping up, guys. This is the end. I want for anybody who's gonna be like, well, Blue, that's just white people. No, it's not. We're wrapping up with a Black girl on purpose because y'all love to dismiss the apocalypse as white shit, and until it comes to your door, you're like, oh shit, it's not just white shit, y'all. It's affecting all of us. This young lady recently, like a couple of days ago, went viral because she said, y'all wanted to make fun of me for being traditional. My nigga got me on vacation. She's in like Myrtle Beach somewhere on a dirty patch of sand. Girl. Oh, sometimes when y'all flex, y'all just telling yourselves.
Remember? Oh, I want to do for myself. I want to do this. I want to do that. I like being single. I love it here. Well, I love it here. Right here. On the beach. With my man. That's what I like. I like you. But yes, y'all. Yes. The joys. Right? Of being a good woman. See that? You see that? A trick didn't have to bring me here. My man did. My man did. You hear?
Where did he bring you exactly, baby? You pursed up outside of Wet Willie's in South Beach. Like, what? The bus could have took you there. You didn't need a man for that. Let me let her go.
That, ladies, I didn't have to pretend to like anybody. I didn't have to do none of that. And I'm on a better beach. Go wash them pans and pots. Go clean that house like I told y'all.
Somebody here posted, if you look, somebody said, thank God I take my daughter around the world so she doesn't think a man taking her to Myrtle Beach, Florida is a flex. And it's a lady who I think is like in Italy or something at the Coliseum. And then somebody else wrote, me in Hawaii on the trip I bought and paid for, trying to see your point. Yikes! Well, ladies and gentle folks, I just need you to know that this live in the state that I'm in was a labor of love. But I think that this conversation is I honestly think it's probably the most perfect real-time example I've had of how propaganda slowly erodes our humanity. I think it's such a great example. I think people who think Nara Smith are harmless are a perfect example of how pervasive, how effective, and how dangerous propaganda is currently. And the words you kept on hearing, I almost thought about making it a drinking game, but I didn't want anybody to get alcohol poisoning. I considered saying at the top of the show, media literacy is a drinking game. And every time I heard the word media literacy, take a shot. I think you would have taken about 6 or 7 shots at least. So that's why I didn't do it. Please work on your media literacy. Please be willing to hear something provocative. And rather than just send it to your friends as tea, look it up to make sure it's true. Reconsider. Read some literature on the subject. Fuck it. In the words of one of my favorite poets, Andre 3 Stacks. Yes? All right, family. I got to go to bed. I still got these wings on my lap that I want to fuck up, but I can't because I'm Caribbean, so I eat the bones. That's why I had to stop eating the wings. I was like, oh no, it's about to get turned into a crime scene if I start eating chicken in front of y'all. I love y'all. Members Rise. We are going to be having a Saturday morning live, 10 a.m. Married at First Sight. First half is going to be Gen Pop, so you can all join us. In the second part, where me and Bridget pop our shit, will be members only. I just realized something. I've done several lives asking a lot of people in my life about the icky situation. I've never talked to Bridget about how she feels about the icky situation. So we might do that at members only, because I feel like it's a perfect way to round out that 8-hour live that we did last week. Love y'all for watching. And the recap comment, because I love it when you guys put comments after in the replay section. The replay comment that I want you to write, and I'm trying to think of one that's going to be pervasive. The girl math is not adding up. Ooh, I like that. If you got to the end and you are watching, or you're watching the recap, when this video is over, hype the video, because we love to be hyped, and then write in the comment section, the girl math, right? Oh my God, the girl math is not adding up. Because real women have calculators. All right. Love y'all so much. Until next time. Don't forget to like the live. Bye, family.